Hello, this is Madcat, the Angry Egalitarian, and today is my fantastic episode 200. Okay, it's really like 201 or 202, but just pretend it's 200. And we have a fantastic show today. Unfortunately, my camera doesn't want to work right now, so, oh well. You don't really need to see my face. We got other beautiful people to look at. And let me introduce them today. Starting off with the love child of Marge Simpson and Solid Snake, Max Derrat.
Hello.
And the always widely inappropriate but fun to talk to, MissyJ.
Hey now. No. I am not inappropriate. You're inappropriate.
Please, you came into the stream talking about having a cat in your lap.
It was a pussy.
Yes.
At least it wasn't a snake.
And speaking of snakes, we have modern Medusa.
Yes, and Gorgon.
And the Mexican's name, who I can never pronounce, NC Clark.
Really? You gonna call me a Mexican today? You
Well, I
gonna
was
call
going
me
to
a
call
Mexican
you the
today?
Mexican Pikachu,
Dude,
but
I haven't
thought
got-
that was offensive.
I haven't got any sleep, so you better hold off with the Mexican Mexican things, because I'm gonna take offense.
And last but not least is proof that I'm not racist because I have a black friend, Zarius.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
All right, so let me take a moment to talk about my 200th episode and kind of a little bit of why do I do all of this crap. I mean, certainly I've started to build up a little bit of a fan base. Recently, I've jumped 25 subscribers in 2 weeks, which is amazing, and hopefully that continues to build because, well, all of my friends here before me certainly have a lot of subscribers, and I'm very, very jealous, but that's not their fault. Anyways, I want to start off by saying, look, to all the feminists out there, I get it. I really do. Once upon a time, there were some women out there that just wanted to change the world for the better. People like Erin Pizzi, who saw an opportunity to make the world a better place and did what she could to do that. But then there was another group of women that came in and it's like, you know what? We could actually make a business out of this and get a lot of money and not actually solve any problems. And even if we get everything we want, all we have to do is just keep saying we have nothing and we'll get more and more money. And this is pretty much what I'm fighting against on this channel, is that feminism has really been usurped by these women pretty much since the 70s or even the 60s. And they will convince us that there is no problems in the world, that there is still, well, no, let me take that back. There are still many problems in the world that just don't exist. You know, let's take rape culture, for instance. Now, I would say that rape culture exists, but not the way feminists preach at us about. That there are many men who get raped and no one cares. There are little boys who are raped by women and they get a slap on the wrist. A fucking 21-year-old woman got no jail time after having sex with an 11-year-old boy because she said she wasn't emotionally mature enough for it. You know, but if it was a man who had slept with an 11-year-old girl, you better believe he would have gotten a life sentence for that kind of shit, or 20 years. But, you know, there is really this great divide between men and women. And the people I kind of feel sorry for is those feminists out there who just really want to do a good job and really help out, but are being poisoned from within. Because face it, feminists don't speak out against other feminists. It's almost unheard of. You know, people like Christina Hoff Sommers is a rare exception. We live in a world today that is just riddled with this. And the problem is everyone thinks that everyone is against feminism, when in truth, it's that we're not really against feminism. We just want to help men. We want to bring them up a little bit. And every time we try to, we're told, oh, well, women have suffered a lot longer. Oh, well, men are just being hurt by the patriarchy. Oh, you mean that system that was designed by men for men that also hurts men? Do you really hear yourself speaking when you say this? They really don't, but this is why I do what I do. I mean, I have severe limitations in my life. I mean, most of my life is spent within this room, which I can't show you right now because my camera is being retarded. But, and what little I can do, every person here, what I love about every person here is that they want to put the voice out there. You know, whether it's Zarius talking about Lacey Green, whether it's about Max doing the 20 questions that white people have for black people and making fun of BuzzFeed, Ladies on Topic and Modern Medusa just pulling shit out of her ass. Okay, they were Post-it notes. But all of us want to put a voice out there, because the more people are talking about this, the greater opportunity we have of making some actual change. This is why I do what I do, and I think this is why the rest of them do what they do. So I'm going to now turn it over to my guests. If there's anything you want to talk about, I open the floor to you. If not, I can pull out a random article and we can talk about that.
Yeah, we can stay on that topic for a little bit. Why we do this and why it's important. At least why it's important to me, I can say. Is for years of my life, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of lean more towards that left-leaning feminist liberal kind of ideology growing up as a kid. But over time, you know, just kind of looking at the way men and women have treated each other, a huge part of when I started making these YouTube videos, I saw a lot of the damage. I genuinely blame on feminism, actually. The way a lot of young women have been taught to relate to men, and the way that some of these women have kind of forced other men to kind of treat them badly to get a response, get a reaction from them, you know. I can see the damage between the male-female relationship. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why feminism needs to take a step back, in my opinion, because we can just see in our relationships, a lot of people aren't happy, a lot of people are getting divorces, a lot of children grow up without their dads, and it's just not conducive to any healthy society to make women deathly afraid of men, and it's just not a good idea to make men not even like or respect women. You know, me myself, you know, I have to, after like every video response I do, I have to stop and do some self-reflection and remember that this isn't indicative of all women, so I don't lose my respect from women who do still care about men. You know, I have to make sure that I don't think all women, that's kind of weak flowers that need protection, because the more I think about that, you know, the more frustrated I get with the lack of appreciation that some women have when they put these roles on men. You know, even in feminism, they still expect men to protect them and stand up for them, but they never want to reciprocate that back. And that's one thing I find to be incredibly disrespectful to the male-female dynamic, that you can expect so much from men, but, you know, God forbid men ask you to reciprocate that or do something for them. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me, at least, that makes me despise feminism so much, is the ideology itself. Maybe not every feminist, because I don't think most feminists are bad people, but the ideology itself does teach a huge disdain for men, especially if you think they're oppressors that are potential rapists. And that's not healthy to any male-female relationship. It's not healthy for society, and I think that needs to be addressed. So, yeah, that's why I dislike feminism so much.
I think when you say the ideology itself, that was the first thing I thought when I heard Mad Cat tell people, you know, I think there are lots of feminists that really want to do well. And I feel like a lot of the problem when it comes to feminism and pop feminism, which is one of the more popular feminisms right now, just saying, I'm for equality, I'm for gender equality, men and women are treated differently. Like, I feel like very few people deny that men and women are treated differently. The main problem with feminism is that it's been so obscured by its waves that people have forgotten its roots, and its roots shine through in their narrative more than anything else. And I remind people often that feminism is not a movement for equality. It has never been a movement for equality. It has been a civil rights movement, right? There was some, should I say, righteousness in the first implication, which is women should have the right to have a voice in the government that governs them. It was a fair assessment for all people who could not vote during that time period, including men who were not drafted or part of the military, and it resonated with lots of people. But what people seem to forget through that haze of righteous civil rights work is that, first and foremost, feminism, or suffragettes, believed that men themselves, oppress women, and that women need to be liberated from men. And when they said liberated from men, they do not mean all of men. They meant, at the time, the nuclear family unit. The nuclear family, or even, should I say, the extended family, the system was a very intricate balance that had, husbands and wives and roles and things that made life easier for human beings at the time. And they didn't like the idea of sharing their wages with their family like their husbands had been required to since the dawn of time. They didn't like not being able to work if the family couldn't afford to have them out of the house. They didn't like lots of things. And this cute, fluffy movement about the deconstruction of gender roles and, gender neutral bathrooms, it's all those fluff material that really moves away from the essence of what feminism tried to tell people from the beginning, which is the idea of what women and men need to do to survive is oppressive and harmful for women, and only women. It has never been an equality movement for both genders. It has never been about making it equal for each other, right? And they will never, ever focus on men's issues unless it pertains to being a woman, which is why they try to jimmy-rig gay rights, they try to get trans rights in there, they try to include everything. It's bad. And so when somebody says, no one's against feminism, no, I am against feminism. I am against the entireness of feminism from the beginning. But that's all I had to say about it.
You know what's, I'll just try to expand upon what Missy and Zerst said. What might be surprising to some people whenever I have this particular discussion is that when it comes to the stuff that I advocate for, even though I criticize sort of the regressive left as we've come to know it on my channel and everybody else does in our community, people might be surprised to know that when it comes to the stuff that I advocate for, it tends to be more on the part of women. Like, to put it in blunt terms and sort of facetiously, I'd probably consider myself more of a traditional feminist than I would be for, men's rights or whatever you would call that. And the main reason is because I grew up raised by a lot of strong women. Like the male factor in, sort of conditioning my upbringing was sort of relegated solely to my father. But aside from that, I was raised primarily by women, and a lot of very strong, resourceful, nurturing people. And I sort of base a lot of my own character and sensibilities on top of that. And unfortunately, because of my regard for for women in general, and a bunch of other personal issues that I had, it sort of made me prone to manipulation. And unfortunately, it sort of blinded me to the fact that there was this contingent of the gender wars that would try and manipulate anybody that they could, just to make gains for themselves, right? And thankfully, I was able to break out of that and realize that the stuff that I was conditioned to believe, that there's a patriarchy and men are out to get women and women live in a society that just hates them, I came to realize that wasn't true. And the thing that sort of made me as angry, obviously when you come out of that conditioning after a long time, you're sort of angry about it, and you really hate the fact that you were manipulated. But what also angered me just as much was the fact that it was turning these women that I looked up to for so long into, well, the hardcore radical honers of victimhood, So I guess because of that, the reason I do what I do is because I want to sort of create a healthier environment, not just for men. Like, I do care about men's issues. I'm a man. I sympathize with a lot of the stuff that Mad Cat talks about, and people within his community and everybody else here that identifies with that, but also because I want the relations to improve between men and women. And I believe that the people here are going to be able to continue to do that, and as a result, maybe create an environment where we can all empower each other and not sort of resort to the tactics that are so familiar to, the side that we're opposing.
Well, I think I speak for many of us that we all really want to improve the relations between men and women. Let's stop being so divided.
Yeah, I'd say precisely. Exactly. I don't think this separation or this frustration between men and women is conducive to anything. I mean, just kind of look at the things that a lot of people in general, men on some of the more extreme MGTOW are saying, or just regular women who don't even identify as feminists, who say a bunch of mean things about the guys that they've dated, because they were never taught how to have good relationships, right? Because their dad was never around, or their mom never instilled, the kind of the wisdom of not taking your beauty for granted and finding someone that actually kind of enjoys your company. If you just look at all the nasty things they say about those guys who cheat on them and treat them badly and call them mean names, and all men are like that, or I see a lot of times. There's this one guy called Darwinian Thought here on YouTube. He's just starting out, and he makes this series called How Women Judge Men, right? And the girls on the show, a lot of them are pretty attractive, but they're so shallow that they don't even give these men even a shot or even a second thought. They will find some of the most insipid reasons to reject some guy. Like they'll say, some other guy, he would eat cheeseburgers, and you remind me of him, and I'm a vegan, so I can't date you. Just stupid stuff that has nothing to do with him. And they just don't even think complexly about the men anymore because they want to judge them so harshly. And when you take into the feminist ideology saying that a bunch of men, they're just terrible people who have oppressed you, it's just not healthy. It's going to help them get anywhere. And this in turn causes a lot of men to think women are shallow, or they take hypergamy to an extreme view and say they don't even want to date or marry women anymore and interact with them anymore. And that's not healthy. So there's this huge schism between men and women that I wish a lot more people honestly would kind of talk about and try to bring them together. Because I know a lot of people talk about how much they don't like feminism, and that's good, but I mean, just the other day I was sitting here thinking about, I don't really know a lot of the motivation behind a lot of these people whose videos I watch. Yeah, feminism is stupid, but I mean, if that's the only thing that guides you, then Well, there's a lot of things that are stupid. I mean, the flat Earth theory is kind of stupid based on some of the things. I mean, maybe the Earth might be flat, but some of the stuff they say just doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of things that are dumb, but I mean, like,
Z,
go ahead.
I want to stop you there. I want to give NC Clark and Vanessa a chance to speak on why they do this or anything else we've said.
All right, go ahead. I'll just pause there.
Who's gonna go first? Me? I guess I will. Well, yeah, the reason I do this is not only to, promote, equality in men's rights and women's rights, but also just for myself because, my mom raised me alone, and she pretty much raised me to be a Christian feminist, sensitive asshole. Like, not necessarily with the feminist label, but she had very feminist ideas and also some pretty racist ideas. And, I grew up with that, and now I'm trying to, just, I guess, put myself out there because I feel like my voice could be beneficial. I've been looking at lots of just feminist and anti-feminist stuff since I was about a junior in high school, and I don't know, it just started, opening my eyes, making me realize that the way I was raised wasn't really logical at all, and now I'm just trying to build up my confidence because I know that I, could possibly share some interesting experiences. So, yeah. Besides that, I just want to expose how hateful some people can be, not only feminists, but just assholes, I guess. But, yeah, I really like to, talk to people about this and contribute, so that's basically what I like to do.
NC, you there with us?
Oh God, hold on. Oh man.
Forgive her,
sorry.
guys. She's
I
working
am-
with the white man's computer.
I am. It's a really crappy Mac from 2006. It's an iBook, MacBook Pro. 2006 is freaking. And I didn't get any sleep because I was too busy playing a game I've never played, but I was so happy I did. Danganronpa.
Oh, I thought it was Pac-Man.
Hell no, I love Pac-Man, dude. Actually, I love Miss Pac-Man better. Anyway, what do y'all want to know? Why I do what I do?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Because I'm bored. Let's see. I got a really crappy political science degree and nothing else to show for it. So I make videos for me. And if people like them, they like them. If they don't, they don't. That's pretty much it.
Leave it to the shortest girl to give a short response.
I'm not the shortest. Missy
I am
is.
definitely the shortest.
Missy's the Hobbit. The fuck?
Does she have hairy feet?
Maybe. Who knows?
Please don't turn this into a foot fetish stream, Matt Cat.
You know what I also think part of the problem is with kids growing up very feminist-like today? Because I've noticed that's a trend in my generation. I'm pretty sure Max can understand that. I'm sure Medusa understands that. It's just this baseline feminist beliefs are just generally accepted by the mass population. I blame a lot of this on the public education system deciding that philosophy is not something they want to teach in school. Did anyone here take a philosophy class until college?
I never took one.
Yeah, I didn't get my first
I took
philosophy class until college.
Me too.
I just had a sociology class, and it was quite feministy. I tried to ignore it.
I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I imagine people like Newton or Socrates. I feel like all of these people got introduced to critical thinking much sooner in their life, like childhood. And kids aren't taught to ask why anymore. When they ask too many questions, they're just like, go away. Shoo, stop asking questions about
They'll
things.
mark you down. They'll mark you down. They'll want to kick you out the class. I've seen some people. I was that kid though. That kid that asked too many questions, and in college, thank you Jesus, I had a college that didn't really care to kick me out. They actually accepted me. And I made it very clear what I am. I'm a conservative Republican. That's just what I am, where I'm coming from. That means I'm the devil.
You mean a cuck-servative?
Oh God.
Well, taking some comments in our chat here, it seems that Graham Mickelson took an AP philosophy class, but AP just means doing extra work for nothing. So
no, AP means that it's a college course anyway. No, I mean baseline, high school, elementary school, middle school, something like that. Philosophy
well, Warped
class.
Reflection also says that her younger son had an intro to philosophy at primary school.
Oh, that's good. Warped, where do you live?
He lives in the UK.
Oh, well.
I thought Warped was a chick.
She lives in the UK.
Are you...
I don't give a shit.
I know where she lives, but I don't know the gender.
I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Make fun of me on the internet. Kill myself.
I was trying to do my job.
As a what was she called? A pop culture critic.
Yeah.
Can I just call myself that? Is that just something people? I watch a lot of fucking movies.
You call yourself an internet philosopher.
Oh my God.
By the way,
you can call yourself a rationalist.
The gender of Warped Reflection, but she lives in Scotland.
Isn't that the UK? I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna freaking Scotland. Isn't that where Goodfella is? And isn't that where that police station was? The Glasgow police on Twitter was like, we will find people who tweet offensive things, and we will do something.
Scotland also arrested the guy who made the Nazi pug videos.
That was where he was from?
Scotland.
Oh my God.
Nazi pug, I feel like this is something I need to know about.
That was fantastic.
Some girlfriend had a dog, and she was always calling it cute, so the guy was like, I'm just gonna find the least cute thing in the world. Nazis. And they had a video of him like looking at the Hitler speech like up on the TV, like just really entranced by it. And then he had him go, Z Kyle, and he put his little pug arm up, and it was cute.
It was
and
so
then, what did he say? Oh, he goes, gas the juice, and the pug turns around and looks at him all excited. It was funny. It was cute. But it was unacceptable.
Unacceptable!
That's her country.
Well, apparently Scotland is the
they've got over there.
Is it a country or what is it? What is the UK? What is it? What is it? I don't even know anymore. I don't even care. Any country or place that you cannot have pepper spray.
Why did you ask? Why did you ask? What is it if you don't care?
I don't know.
I can't say her name.
Yeah, you can't say my name. Ha ha ha.
You mean Nylaved?
Yes, I cannot say that.
You can't say it.
I think she has really a pretty name. I'm not gonna lie. I like that.
You have to slowly whisper it. That's how you can tell how pretty it is.
Just call her she who must not be named.
Oh.
Oh, I do that. I call her NC.
I like that. That's better. Oh, man.
Okay, so let's go to a topic. Z, you wanted to bring something up.
Yeah. So have you guys heard about that whole what? It's in a state that starts with the C. It's not California.
Carolina.
I think it's Colorado. They made this law where people have to go into the bathroom that corresponds
well,
with
it was
their
nice talking to y'all.
biological
Oh, are
sex.
you talking about North Carolina?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, not. I was
Oh,
wrong. It's
oh,
North
don't get me
Carolina.
started on bathrooms.
But I want to get started. I want to. I
Oh
want
no,
to
you
guys to get
don't.
started.
I don't think you do.
Because-
Okay, wait. I have
I
to
don't-
know the baseline answer for everyone. Okay, these
God.
are our
I
three
tell you,
solutions.
See, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Okay, but before we all start, let me set the stage and get the conversation flowing in a specific direction before it flies everywhere. Okay. Okay. So the first thing is I want. Here's what I think. Okay. I want to understand what exactly is the purpose of gender segregated bathrooms from the beginning. Okay. Because in my mind, if the purpose is ease of access for specific genitalia, then there is no reason for anyone to go into the bathroom of which they feel like, because it's just based on what equipment they're working with. If that's the point. If that's not the point, and the point is to make people, and if we're going to be fair, it's really women, feel comfortable about using the bathroom, then I would say it defeats the purpose of the bathroom. And the solution would just to be have one bathroom that rules them all. If that's the point, to make people feel comfortable. And it would really be women, because I've never seen any man get upset with a woman in the men's restroom. Even in college, I had girls walk into the men's restroom. I didn't care. It didn't bother me. I've only seen women be upset with this, so that's why I'm saying that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be wrong. But if that's the point, to make people feel comfortable, then I think there's a case to be made. But as far as specific equipment, then there's no point, in my opinion. Then people should just use. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you have a penis, you go in the men's restroom. Done.
Well, let me
So
make one
go ahead.
caveat to your point there.
Okay.
No one is comfortable going to the bathroom. That's why we tend to have separators in the bathroom, so we can take off our pants and drop trout. You know, no
Yeah,
one, no one
Everyone
is comfortable
feels
in the bathroom.
uncomfortable
So I don't
pooping.
really understand why anyone wants to be comfortable in the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I know I'm comfortable. I don't care.
How many
but then
people
that's
do you
just me,
know?
so.
Wait, how many people do you know that will just straight up not use a public bathroom? They'll go and say, I think I'm just going to wait until I get home.
Many.
And I know a lot of them, and none of them are transgender.
That's interesting, huh?
Not a single one of them. I know a couple transgender people, but none of them are uncomfortable about using the bathroom that I know of.
And what's also
Never asked.
interesting about this, until this issue really started, no one had ever really complained about, hey, that woman kind of looks like a dude and is using the girl's bathroom.
Oh,
No one
I've-
ever really
I've never-
complained about that.
Yeah, I've never
I've
heard that
seen it.
either. I
Okay.
haven't.
So this is what happens in a girl's bathroom when a man walks in,
Oh
or
no.
anyone that can kind of look like a man.
Mm.
If you're passing enough, meaning you look like you've been doing this for a while, they might just stare at you and give you funny looks and try to hustle out of the bathroom as quickly as possible. But if you just look like a man and you walk into the women's bathroom, you can expect either three reactions: yelling, screaming, or, excuse me, you're in the wrong bathroom, you're in the wrong bathroom, what are you doing in here? Get out of my bathroom, what are you trying to do, pervert? That's how men in bathrooms go, 90% of the time.
And you know, I've heard some horror stories about how messy the woman's bathroom is, and it's like, why would anyone voluntarily go in there?
With the exception of fathers. If a man walks in with a small little girl, he'll come in, he'll drop off his daughter, he'll see the weird looks of the women once she gets into a stall, and he'll awkwardly wait out the front door.
To tell you the truth,
While
man,
calling
if I had
back
a kid,
into the bathroom out loud over and over again.
yeah, if I had a child, I wouldn't care what any woman had to say. Like, I would escort my child into the bathroom and wait for her to finish. I have no problem with that. And if any woman had a problem, I'd tell them straight up, my child's in the restroom, I'm making sure they're safe. If you got a problem with that, go to the other side of the store. See you later. You know, I wouldn't care if any woman had words to speak to me about keeping my children safe. So that's just me. I wouldn't care.
Well, there's the article I showed you on The Humanist where, you know, they won't care about you because you're a black man. But all white men are no longer allowed to use restrooms in public. They have to go out behind the store to the dumpster and use garbage to wipe their ass. And I wish I was making this up, and I thought it was a joke post, but The Humanist doesn't have joke posts. This guy was serious. White men not allowed to use bathrooms anymore.
Can I say one thing, though? In said state, I have personally not seen any news, enforcement, or anything at all. And also, in the restaurant I work at, an old man did go into the women's bathroom because the men's bathroom was occupied and nobody really cared. So, I mean, I don't know how much that's actually going to be enforced, especially because I know a lot of trans people in my town and obviously in the whole state, so...
I saw a video of a woman getting, quote, escorted out of a bathroom. She was a very dykey-looking lesbian.
Oh, yes, I did see that.
And she looked at the cops. Now, there are 3 cops in the bathroom. 2 of them are men and 1 of them are women. Tell me who's breaking the law right now.
Oh,
It's really not the lesbian in the bathroom. So, she's in the bathroom. She looks like a dyke, which can be easily mistaken as a man sometimes. And these male cops are asking her to leave the bathroom very roughly. And their friends are just like, but she's a girl. Like, what are you doing? Like, leave her alone. He's like, you got any ID? No. It's the bathroom. What was for you? No. And
it's the bathroom.
Like, you need to leave. She's like, nah, man, I gotta pee. I got a vagina. Like, she's getting belligerent with these cops, and I don't blame her. Like, leave me the fuck alone. I'm using the bathroom, for God's sake. And no, they escorted her out of the bathroom. Me, personally, at that point, I would have whipped out my vagina and either pissed on the floor outside of the bathroom. Or whipped out my vagina in front of the cops and pissed on the floor in front of them. I don't know. One of the combinations would have occurred, either before or after being escorted out of the bathroom.
Well, I feel like I have to say this for men everywhere. Missy, you're not allowed to use the bathroom. You look like a dude.
It's illegal. Yeah, but I mean, so what is the purpose of a restroom now? Aside from relieving yourself, I mean, gender segregated restrooms. What's the point?
Strips in there.
Well,
I've never
there's
seen
certainly the stereotype that women like to go in there and talk.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And men don't. We just get in, do our stuff, and like don't make eye contact.
Oh no, we go in hordes. That's why people think we're talking in there. No, once we're in there, we're just awkwardly standing there because nobody wants to be that person that talks while other people are peeing. But everybody waits for somebody to flush the toilet so that they can pee without being heard peeing. And that's why the lines in the bathrooms are always insanely long and why women think they need to bring hordes of women into the bathroom to feel safe. They don't feel safe alone in their own bathroom with only women, so I don't know. Why.
Yeah, women are crazy.
I used to be like that in high school, and now I just don't give a fuck. I go in there, do my business, and get the hell out.
I went to Target yesterday.
You would think most people would do that.
Yeah.
I went to Target yesterday, and I was really, really tempted to go into the boys' bathroom, but I didn't need to use the bathroom, so I went to the fitting rooms, but it would appear that they just got rid of their male and female fitting rooms, and they just have, like, one giant fitting room.
You know, with fitting rooms, I've had to go into the girls' section before because the guy filled up, you know? It was never that big of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they're undressing next to each other in the same cuticle. Cubicle, not cuticle.
Exactly. You know, you have the stalls that are segregated from each other, which is why I'm a little confused as to why any woman would feel uncomfortable because there are stalls. You know, you go into the stalls. It's not like a men's restroom where you have the urinals that are out in the open. You go into a stall, you lock the door, and you handle your business. So where's the level of uncomfortability for me is what I'm trying to figure
Well,
out.
to be
I don't really
fair, half the
understand that.
time those locks are broken. But I know Max needs to leave soon, so was there anything you wanted to say about this issue or anything else?
I think you went AFK.
Okay. Well, here's the kicker, and where all of this really is stemming from is, first off, transgendered individuals are wanting more recognition of who they are in society. And they think that this is going to be the foot in the door, if you will, of, hey, we should have a legal right to use whatever bathroom we choose to use. So that's part of the problem. But the second problem is the fundamental Christians out there who are saying, who are really against this, but also people like feminists,
they're not against
worried
transgender
that
people,
little
dude.
girls are going to be like abducted from a bathroom and raped, and that's really
abducted by who?
Is.
Men.
Exactly. They're not worried. Nobody is worried about transgendered people. They're all worried about men. Every single person, even some of the liberal women, every single one of them have said, "What about these creepy men that are going to go in there and mess with these little girls?" Every single one of them. I haven't heard one person say those transgendered people need to go into their correct. No one. They have blown past the problem with transgendered people and went straight to creepy, pervy men are gonna hurt our little girls.
And
straight to that.
You know what I haven't heard? The only logical reason why somebody might have an objection to, say, unisex bathrooms or people who may look like men going into the bathroom, the women's bathroom unquestioned. The only logical excuse. What if they're going in there to have sex? That would be the only acceptable answer of why someone might not want unisex bathrooms, right? And I heard it from one person, and it was an adult man that I met at work who was, he looks like he's in his 50s. He's like, I remember one time in New York, we had this unisex bathroom at a bar, and no one could use the bathroom because people were all having sex and having a good time in there.
Yeah, you know, to be fair, back in high school, that happened. A couple of kids got expelled for doing that. So I would say, yeah, that's probably a legitimate point. I think the only legitimate.
Then again, gender-segregated bathrooms have not stopped this occurrence.
Point, yeah, because it was the kids were doing it in the I think it was the boys' locker room, if I'm correct.
Sorry, Zers.
I think.
What's up, Max?
Oh, nothing.
Well, you know.
Oh no, I didn't walk in on them. Yeah, that wasn't me who did that. I had a friend who walked in on a couple of people having sex, though. She told me about it. But not me. I didn't have that problem. I had a different problem in the bathroom, but that's another story for another time.
And I have to leave in like 10 minutes. I won't be around to hear that.
Oh, I'll tell you some other time, then.
Well, is there anything more we want to say on this issue, or shall we move on to something else?
Yeah, I mean, we never addressed what the purpose of the restroom is.
Oh, it's to do your business and feel uncomfortable doing it.
All right, so then why do transgendered people want or need to go into corresponding bathrooms?
Because they want to feel legitimized.
Because those dirty, nasty men are going to rape and murder them.
I have heard
just
a couple
like
of
the other women.
Yeah, I've heard a couple of transgendered people say they were attacked in the bathroom, and I don't want to call them liars or anything like that, but it just doesn't make sense to me that someone would attack them for no reason. It just, again, I don't want to say that they're lying, because I wasn't there. But it does sound like bullcrap to me that they would go to the bathroom, a man would spot them and say, "Hey, you're not a real woman," and beat that guy. Why? Like, why? What's their motivation behind that?
Well, there was a recent story that came out that a transgendered woman was shot to death in a department store, and it was a hoax.
Oh, so it
Like
was
they're
bullshit, huh?
inventing news. And this article that I have on the screen came out 2 days ago, but it's referring to this from, I guess, last week, where everyone's like, oh, transgendered woman was gunned down because she used the wrong bathroom, and it never actually happened. They're trying to create an issue where there really is no issue.
You want to know why things like throwing gay people off buildings or beating them to death or, killing transgender women inside bathrooms don't happen as often as, say, other places? Because nobody is promised anything good from doing these acts, right? In our civilization, they are harshly punished for their crimes against humanity. Unlike other places that may promise a deity will, reward them for their good deeds of ridding the planet of these horrendous, nasty creatures. Just saying, I'm gonna not.
Well, I mean, you'll get 72 virgins, but they'll be
I didn't say any particular religion now.
I'm a little confused about that, because if you have sex with them, will they disappear?
Wait, what? Well,
if you have sex with the virgin, she's not a virgin anymore. So will she just evaporate? I mean, so what happens?
Cersei's fantasy.
I'm just wondering. I'm just asking.
That is a pretty decent fantasy. I fucked some woman who had never been touched before, and then when I was done with her, she just got the fuck out.
Yeah, usually I have to get the fuck out.
They literally got the fuck out.
Yeah.
I was fucked
Good
out.
for one fuck.
I'm just wondering. I'm just asking. I don't really get that. And like, do women like become virgins, and that's what they do in heaven? I don't know. I don't get it.
It's one of those questions that you really shouldn't spend too much time thinking about, sir. It's like asking what Santa Claus did. It's like asking what Jesus ever did for Santa Claus on his birthday.
I've never thought about that one.
Don't think about it. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, I guess to wrap it up, I think it's an interesting topic. Personally, I don't really care too much about women feeling comfortable in the restroom anymore. I really don't. I don't even care. I think they should use whatever bathroom they want. It really doesn't bother me. What gets me though is a lot of conservatives attacking men, that like men is gonna hurt these kids, and most men aren't. Most men aren't gonna hurt anybody, and I guess that's really one of my final thoughts. I'll make a whole video about it one of these days, though.
Well, I want to go ahead and move off of this topic and move on to another one that came into my email. Men in literature courses canceled for ignoring women. And I won't read this entire article, but, basically a college wanted to create this class and it got canceled before it started. And it's saying that it was hostile for women. Also canceled the objective, changed the objective about writing about males' advocacy in literature. But the one part of this article that I really loved, I can't find it. Oh, right here. Meanwhile, Springfield offers several other English courses focusing on gender and specific racial groups, including women in literature, Native American literature, Asian American literature, and the two-part course African American literature. So we can have all of those other classes because they're not hostile to women. But if we have men in literature, that's hostile.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go get an alcoholic beverage this time. I'll be right back.
Vanessa, you want to start us off in your remarks, your reaction?
Oh shit. Well, I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, you could have just you could have they could have called it literature without the male title and just, talked about male literature, and then nobody would have had a problem with it. And, women in literature, they could probably have exclusively, female content, and no one's gonna fucking bitch about there not being enough male literature in there unless, a male's actually brave enough to say anything about it, in which case they'll probably get ridiculed. It's
Probably
just really
get beaten
ironic.
up.
Like, fuck out of here with your misogynistic patriarchal bullshit.
Well, I'd like to bring this article up because it just really speaks to a larger problem, especially within academia, that it's like, we need safe spaces because everywhere is a safe space for a man. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like,
Evidently not.
every day is Man's Day. That's why we need a International Women's Day. Every
Is that
literature
day
class is about men. That's why we need a
where we
women.
collectively say men are horrible people? Is that Men's Day?
What's up?
Men are horrible. Is Men's Day the day we say that men are terrible people and will rape children? Because if that's the case, then yes, every day is Men's Day. Every single day is Men's Day.
Yeah.
I see people say mean things about men all the time, and it's crazy to me though. I mean, the amount of mean things people say about men and the amount of things that men have contributed just to society overall. And, I mean, I'm not saying people have to worship men, but come on, can we have some balance here? Because if
No.
you even see like the literature class we're talking about, where we're talking about like say like Ernest Hemingway or say even some of your favorite male authors, you may not be like literature legends, say like Edgar Allan Poe, maybe not him, like Rick Riordan, he wrote some good books, right? Can we not have a conversation about him? No, that's misogyny because you're not talking about J.K. Rowling. I mean, like, come on, like, why can't we have a couple of like 50 minutes a day to just discuss some of the good books that some men wrote? I mean, how is that? I don't even see why that would even bother these women to begin with, to bother anyone.
It would
I mean,
actually
you don't
bother
have
me.
to take the class.
No, it would bother me because it sounds useless. For example, I
Well,
like
that's
literature.
different.
That's
It's
I
different if it's
understand.
useless versus it hurts women. Because if that's your argument,
Anything
and I
hurts
would
women.
agree.
The fucking air conditioning hurts women.
Everything
would
is
agree.
for women.
We're dealing with a group of people who, if you sit down on a bus and spread your legs too wide, they'll fucking yell at you because of it. They'll tweet about it. They'll waste their fucking lives tweeting about it. Can you fathom that? That's the enemy everybody is sitting here and looking at and taking a deep hard look and wondering, well, what are they thinking about today? They'll probably come out and say poop is sexist.
So who wants to hear my feminist analysis
I
of
swear.
why a male literature class is sexist and oppressive and is harmful for women and makes them feel unsafe?
I would
I wanna
love
hear it.
to hear this.
Oh God.
Okay.
Unsarcastically, I want to hear this.
So this is
Oh no.
this is something I like to do because I understand where they're coming from because postmodernism is my shit, right? The idea of the lived experience is the most concrete thing in the world, and that everything is a social construct, including the patriarchy. And the patriarchy, this little social construct, is all around you. We value men more. And thus, everything we learn is built around a male perspective. It's built around male worship, so to speak. And you have classes and classes and classes dedicated to showing you all of the men who have made our lives what it is today, from the philosophical thinkers to the builders to all of the great men in history. So why on earth would you need a class dedicated to just men in literature when you could take any literature class and learn about the men in literature, and maybe have a small chapter or two dedicated to other minority groups who have pushed through public education and certain things like women and African Americans, who all get their nice little designated spot inside the mid-last section of the textbook. You know, the ones that the teachers skip all the way to make sure that everyone gets to read, because we can't finish reading that 30-plus chapter literature book. There's no time for that. No time, but there is time for women and black people. So this is one of those little things that get me about pop culture feminism, is that they take the root arguments of feminism, they ignore them, they act like they don't exist, and then they use it to apply it to why we don't need things like male literature classes. And you know what? Let the male literature class be there, because if enough people want to take it, the college will make money off of it. Isn't that what college is for? I thought
college was to make money off of women going to their college. They don't really care if men go there, although they'll accept the money either way.
Meh.
All right, NC.
I'm going to say this in defense of just me, because I don't think anybody else is going to have this opinion on this bullshittery. I could accept a female literature class. I could actually accept it if the criteria is the woman speaks about her lived experience. And it has to be very specific.
For what reason?
What do you mean, for what reason? Just as I would accept someone who has like a a African American literature class. I could accept that if they're talking about specifically the African American, not necessarily the person writing about it, but the theme of it, if you can understand that. So it's like, even if a man wrote a book about a female experience, I would still consider that female literature. Because I'm going by the theme. I'm not going by the person who wrote the book.
That's fair.
That's what I go by. But I can understand why everybody's angry at these things. But I'm just not, because I have a feeling they're going to come up with this excuse. If they're smart, they would come up with this excuse. They're not. They're probably, a lot of them are not going to, because they're too up their own asses. But that's how I see it. So when we talk about the men's literature, as it were, I would accept only literature that contained themes that men's experience, on the male experience, whatever that is.
Well, I have a feeling that's what the college course was talking about men's representation in literature. In fact, one of the assignments...
There's going to be a lot of Hemingway.
Yeah, there's going to be
probably a lot of Hemingway, but one of the assignments, like, the school also objected to an essay assignment on the treatment of males in academic environments, saying students should not be required to write about the opposite gender.
Well, that's just awful. What the fuck? Well, that's just awful. But you understand where I'm coming from, though, where it's like, you can have an African American literature course and have it actually talk about African American experience within a certain piece of work. Like, it's not that difficult, but they're making it all...
Reading like stuff like the Three Musketeers and stuff. Real black literature. No one's gonna read that.
They're gonna read a lot of William Shakespeare because he was actually a black poet.
Wait, no, the guy who wrote the Three Musketeers was actually black.
Lies.
No, he was.
Lies.
The same with the Count of Monte Cristo.
Lies.
That would be the same person.
Yep.
Lies.
It's the same person, but
you're lying to me, Missy. Stop.
Black literature.
Wait, are you serious?
Well, yeah, no, I'm
Yeah,
good. Hold
she's right.
on.
French
Let me go
author.
get the book.
That's Alexander Dumas.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that story 2 times more now.
Zarius, why are you at somebody's house party right now?
You know, my sister's being kind of rude here. She's playing music, even though
I'm the uncultured.
I have no idea why she
have
turned it on.
ears.
I really don't. It sucks that you guys can hear it, but yeah, I don't know why.
It's hilarious. It's making me giggle.
I'm not sure that these photos of him are like pretty bad, so I don't know if he actually.
Please show the
not.
photo.
No. The Count of Monte Cristo is the book.
Let me see.
The Count
Yeah,
of
this
Monte
is what the
Cristo
guy looks like.
it was a black man.
Was a black man?
Yes,
Let me see.
he was a black man. That was the running final joke
That's
of
not a
the
black man.
of
That's
the
not-
bounty hunter in Django, the white bounty hunter in Django. He pulls the Three Musketeers off the shelf to this racist ass slave owner and goes, "I see you like Alice Dumas," or however you say his name, Dumas. It's like such a great book about bloody 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 blah, and then he goes, "It was written by a black man." There was just
love
this
that
awkward
movie.
pause. Nope.
It's a good movie.
His daddy
You
was
know,
black. He was
And
black.
see, I do agree with you that, if we're going to have these courses, let's actually teach about these courses. And not just for, like, these literature courses, but, I used to have friends who went to, like, the University of Kentucky, and it's like they're sitting in math class, and their math teacher is talking about, like, the Civil War and about racism and slavery, and it's a fucking math class. Stick to the fucking subject. And it's like and nowadays, that was like 10 years ago, but nowadays there's just so much crossover with feminism that you'll get a feminist lecture in chemistry, astrology. I mean, they'll actually say, oh, well, all of these terms were invented by men to, subjugate women. That's why they call it a black hole and the Big Bang. And it's like, what does this have to do with anything?
Because everything is patriarchy.
Wait. If black hole, if the term was invented by the patriarchy and it's some kind of jab at women, can I ask the question, what black hole are they talking about? Because we got two.
Well,
No?
maybe it's a black hole.
No.
Both in one of the J-ness.
I remember the postmodernists are so funny. They had this big postmodernist magazine, and you could write your articles and send them in and get them peer reviewed, all that different kind of stuff. And some guy sent a article about, what was it, fluidity? Some kind of weird thing about fluids and space and why science hasn't quite figured out exactly how it happens or something like that. And this guy wrote a fake postmodernist analysis about how scientists were sexist and fluid periods is a basic part of the female nature, and that's why they could never understand it, and all this different kind of stuff, and he went on and on and on about it, and it got published. It was just a whole bunch of bullshit that he had just made up off the top of his head.
Well, it's like something one of my friends said, that, the reason why men make such great firefighters is that we have a lot of practice aiming hoses.
Meninist postmodernism, put it inside a magazine.
Why do you think feminism take Meninism seriously?
Because they're idiots.
Like, why do you think they don't understand that that's a joke?
I think men are that stupid. That's why.
Actually,
That's been insulting. Okay.
I think it has to do with the fact that Meninism's only goal is to reflect feminism word for word using the opposite gender as best as they can. It's literally just a haha, look at yourself, right? And they look at it and they see it, right? And they go, "Oh my god. Look at these men asking for their rights." So first, they consider them men's rights activists, which is bad enough as it is cuz men have all the rights. And second, they go, well then men's rights activists and anyone talking about men's issue are just going to claim that women oppress men.
You know what it is that Meninists are? Is it's like a mirror to like a cockatiel, and they think, oh my god, there's another cockatiel there. Feminists are looking in the mirror and convinced they're looking at another person.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? It's like watching a cat swipe at themselves in the mirror over and over again. It's kind of cute. It's kind of adorable. It's pathetic. But you can't help but giggle at it. And you don't want to tell your cat that it is in fact just themselves that they are fighting with. But...
So let's take
Liberal lunacies in the chat. Hello.
Cats. Apparently, Sargon and NC are related. They could be twins.
Yep.
If you say postmodernist 3 times, ads will come.
Do you know who he's talking about?
Do you know who? Oh God.
Postmodernism, postmodernism, postmodernism.
Modernism. Yeah. Ugh.
Let's see if he shows up.
He's not gonna show up.
Oh no, this guy's lovely.
Please, nobody invite. Please, please don't tell him about this. Please, please.
You all are postmodernists. It's going to be the doom of America.
Yep, pretty much.
Good
What
to see
exactly
there,
does
liberal lunacy.
postmodernism mean?
Yeah.
We need intersexual meninist theory by a fireproof troll.
I need my meninist shirt.
I want a meninist shirt. I want to see how often I'm yelled at.
But I think it's being washed right now.
Sato Chris says Meninists have been beaten by feminists, even though it's just feminists' own shit thrown back at them.
If feminists will always win every conversation.
Or at least they think they do.
For now. For now.
Apparently, Fireproof Troll wrote a gender-swapped article on Medium, so everyone go check that out. Hopefully it's the same name on Medium, Fireproof Troll.
Yeah, but what is postmodernism? What is that?
I have a video on this. Postmodernism is an expansion on the cohesive theory in philosophy. It's a play on the idea of things are true if everyone believes it's true.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And postmodernism takes a spin on it by saying, because everyone believes it's true, it's not actually true, it's a social construct. And so you have this bad idea of what truth is as it is, right? The cohesive theory doesn't really work by itself for the most part. And then they turn it around and just go, so it's not true because everyone believes it. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily true either. Because just because everyone believes it doesn't necessarily make it true or untrue. It just means everybody believes it.
That's a bit convoluted, but okay.
Who knows? Who knows? This is where gender is a social construct comes from. gender doesn't really exist. We're a blank slate, and if everyone was just treated like they should be, then there wouldn't be that big of a difference between men and women, other
That's
than their
so
genitalia.
incredibly ridiculous. That is so. I think Skeptor sent me a. Yeah, it was Skeptor, a documentary on that subject, where this Swedish, I guess he was a Swedish comedian, or Norwegian, sorry, Norwegian comedian guy. He goes to his local sociologists to ask them, how are boys and girls different? Like, do we have different brains? And these sociologists are just like, no, you don't. You totally don't. There's no way. The only thing that's different with men and women is the genitals. It has nothing to do, and the hormones, obviously, but it has nothing to do with the brain. I threw my computer. That's probably why it doesn't work right now. I threw my computer in disgust.
Until they want to talk about why men do X, Y, and Z, and then they make
And why
articles.
men should protect women. Yeah.
When consuming this media has a reaction that you might surprise you.
Oh, I know what it was called. If you want to see it, look up Brainwash, the Gender Equality Paradox. Brainwash, the Gender Equality Paradox. And it's this guy just going around asking very simple questions to these sociologists, and they're just astounded when he comes back. He goes to England, he goes to Oxford, and actually talks to evolutionary psychologists. He talks to scientists who have done studies on the female brain, the male brain, babies, and he goes back to his country, and they still tell him, no, it's the way you treat a baby when they grow up. It's with the toys you give them that changes their outlook on what their gender is. It's like, what the what? Oh, if you just give them...
But go ahead.
If you just give them the toys, or if you treat a boy like a boy, you say he's strong and tough, or if you treat a girl like all soft, then they'll think that that's what they have to do for the rest of their lives.
Transgender people.
Like, that's exactly.
It's interesting that and by the way, my camera's working again. It's interesting that feminism really tries to push this narrative that there are no differences. I mean, Anita Sarkeesian tried to pull that bullshit. But now feminists are actually saying, oh, no, there are actually differences when it comes to the draft. And that's a very fun issue right now, that we've had the draft for we've had selective service that was tied into voting, that you couldn't vote unless you signed up for selective service if you're a man, for about 100 years. But the moment that we say, well, now girls have to sign up for it, it's like, oh, we should do away with the draft because women can't go into combat. And it's like...
It's a bit honorless.
Little chicken shits. What's up, Z?
Yeah, it's a bit honorless as well, I would imagine. I mean, as much as I don't like the draft, I completely acknowledge its usefulness, especially say one day aliens come, extraterrestrials come to conquer the planet. It would make perfect sense to draft men to go fight these creatures off. And of course it's fanciful, but the point is I'm trying to illustrate, the idea and principle, that's complete. The reason why I say aliens is because it's against, or it removes political bias and, trying to get oil and whatnot. So the principle of the draft of, a war is needed, to protect people. I understand. I don't like it, but I understand it. And now to have a couple of feminists slide in here and say, oh, no, it's bad because, women can't do it. I think it's honorless. I think it shows a complete lack of responsibility, that they want to have their country serve them, but they don't want to have to do anything at all to protect the people around them or to protect anything. And it's a little disgusting to me. It's a little disheartening to see that they don't even respect, the principle of, keeping people safe when they're doing what you have to do to protect the people around you.
What's really funny about the draft, particularly, is that you don't need to be drafted into a artillery position, right? they're going to take their best trained men, and that means everyone who's been in the military prior to the draft, put them on the front lines like they are required to do by contract, and then they're going to draft people in, and there's going to be lots and lots of empty spots to fill. Cooking, nursing, just general supply running, collecting dead bodies off the battlefield, shit like that. Like, that's what a draft ends up doing. And if we were going to draft women, more than likely what we're going to draft them for are non-combat roles in the first place.
Well,
because that's where they're safest.
The thing is that women are now able to go to the front lines. They're able to take on these combat roles. And I think that's what really started to say, hey, because, we've been men's groups throughout the last 40 years have been trying to say, like, hey, this is unconstitutional because women don't have to sign up for selective service. Men shouldn't have to sign up for selective service. And the Supreme Court ruled, I think it was like in the 1980s, they ruled that it is constitutional to require men to sign up for the draft and because they can do frontline positions. And it's not discrimination against women since women couldn't go to the front line. Well, now that women can go to the front line, the issue is brought back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was funny, I actually tried to sign up for the draft.
I did too. They won't allow you. They have this little section. It's so funny. It's such a troll. The government trolled me, man. So I go and I go online and they have this section. They're like, gender for the draft, male or female.
Like they were gonna give us an option.
And they're just like, you cannot be even in this website. What are you doing here? Get out of here. And then they give you this long list of court documents why you can't, as a female, be a part of the draft. It's so funny.
Essentially, what it does come down to is that we couldn't be on the battlefield. And because now we can technically be on the battlefield, they can draft us. Now, what I'm going to assume, if people don't just decide that the draft needs to be super, super, protested against until the government finally gives, which it won't, because it's kind of written into our Constitution that they're allowed to do this, is they'll still end up putting the men on the front line and the women in the safer areas. And the reason they'll do this is because any smart nation, country, group of people will understand that having lots of men die necessarily isn't a problem. Having lots of women die is a really, really big problem. Mainly because once the war ends, men come home and they fuck like rabbits. And everyone's super happy that everyone's not dead, for the most part, and they fuck a whole bunch, and there's lots of people, and then we have stuff like baby boomers. Yay, baby boomers.
No, baby boomers.
Well, Hillary Clinton said it best, that the true victims of war are the women, the mothers and the sisters and the daughters.
You mean the ones that are out fucking all the milkmen?
Yes.
They get drafted?
Yes, my mother told me that it was the milkman who was my father.
Yeah, but on a serious notion, though, I mean, like, what kind of person do you have to be to have sex with someone while your husband, or say your wife is out fighting, or in another country? Like, that's just disgusting. A human being or not, come on. Like, where's the integrity? Like, where's the honor that you respect this person who's fighting? I mean, and these people go to war. Some of them might be crazy. Some of them might want a license to kill. But a lot of them think that they're protecting their country. Where's the honor in respecting that?
I don't
There
know
is none.
if it's I don't know if it's so much a cultural thing as it is now. Okay. Fun fact: I've been married. My husband was in the military. We had decided we were going to get married and that he was going to go into the military, and that was the best way to do this. And lo and behold, the military has their fair share of women in basic and AIT. And they're not allowed to touch each other, of course. That doesn't stop anybody. So, I mean, these men are no different than their wives sometimes, but they're also told from what I've learned from both my brother and my ex-husband, they're chronically told to break them down that their wives and their girlfriends are probably back home fucking some guy with sideburns. Because,
Sideburns.
you know, sideburns, yeah, they're not allowed to have that little hair right there. And so it's a running gag with them. Like, haha, you look like a pussy without sideburns. And then they go, yeah, your girlfriend's probably back home fucking some big bulky dude with sideburns.
And you know who has sideburns? Z.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I do.
They're back home fucking people like Xerxes. And, you know, it wears on them. It doesn't make for a very good environment for the men or the women in this case, because the state treats the men there like property. You're not allowed to have hickeys, because that's damaging federal property. You can get in serious trouble for that. They try to counter... Yeah, dependopotamus. That's a very big word that they like to throw around in the military. The fat wife that sits at home and just soaks up all the benefits.
Well, I was in the military, and I can tell you, yeah, some of this stuff does happen.
What bothers me most is that, you know, can you imagine being told that your spouse is cheating on you all the time? And then have rules in place in the military where it is illegal to... Adultery is still extremely illegal in the military.
Yes.
I had my husband's superior officer message me asking me why another woman had taken my identity and lived with my husband while he was on base. Yeah. If I had ever responded to it, he would have been dishonorably discharged.
And
Wow.
there was an incident that happened within, and thank you, Shannon, for that big word, where there was suggested impropriety between a male and a female, and the male was married to someone else, and they both got a demotion because they take that shit very seriously.
Yes.
And even the rumor that there was something happening. I don't know if something ever actually did happen. Maybe it did. I don't care. But the military takes that shit very seriously. Hell, if you have to, like, if you go behind on your bills, they will demote you. You know, basically give you less money per month so you can pay off your bills.
What I find really funny, if I'm not mistaken, you also have to be married to be a general in the army.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm not aware of that, but I was in the Air Force, so...
Yeah. They figure if you can't stay faithful to your wife or your obligations, how are you supposed to be faithful to the United States government?
And then how do they view divorces?
How do they what?
How do they view divorces?
Divorces take place by the military. You can get a military lawyer. My brother has a hard time because he has kids, and his wife cheated on him, and he doesn't know if his second child is in fact his child. But the military forces him to pay child support regardless. They said they won't make him pay child support if he, you know, can prove that one of those children aren't his, but until he can prove that, he has to pay child support. Thankfully, he got out. I don't know how they handle divorces, because his divorce didn't... Actually, yeah, no, his divorce didn't go through until he was out of the military. So...
Well, and someone
Adam.
made an interesting point that, you can't get into West Point if you're married, which is interesting. So you kind of have to get married after the fact, which was kind of like the plot to a Officer and a Gentleman of these harpies trying to marry these men that would go off to be fighter pilots, and one woman actually admitting, I'm only marrying you because you're going off and doing this. But what do I want to say about that? Yeah, it's just all matters fucked up. Well, I was going to say with the whole you have to be married as a general, I don't think it's so. Well, I'm sure it very much is, but I like to think that it's not whether or not you can be faithful to your wife, so that allows you to become a general, but how well can you hide your indiscretions from your wife to become a general?
Wait, say that one more time for me?
How well can you hide your indiscretions? Like you cheat on your wife.
Probably not that well. I mean, the wives hide it better, as long as they're not living on base. But the wives don't get in trouble for it because they're not military property. Is that a better
that's
example?
Convenient.
Yeah, that's convenient, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day, it's just the military owns your life.
Yeah.
And the military is going to instill you with family fucking values. So deal with it.
And what's interesting, if you listen to anything by Terrence Popp, he goes on to say that it's like when men return home from like war, that there's a very good chance that their wife has already left them or will leave them within the first year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And what made them good as a soldier in defending their country will be used against them in like child custody cases. Oh, well, he killed people, and I don't want that around my children.
Oh, that's so fucked.
Works.
Oh, that's so fucked.
That's horrible, man.
Yeah.
That makes my heart hurt.
They're obviously just going to go on a fucking killing spree in the middle of the night.
My brother, I know he won't watch this. He watches my show, so I can't talk about his male problems. But he, like I said, he has 2 children. He got into the military because he got his girlfriend pregnant, right? He didn't go, oh God, Mom, I got my girlfriend pregnant or anything like that. When he announced it to the family, he sat my mother down and he said, Mom, I'm going to be a dad. And he took the idea that he was going to be a father very seriously. And he went into the army, and he had a lot of growing up to do still, right? And so did his wife. And what ended up happening is she wasn't ready for an adult relationship and being alone all the time, because regardless if you're in combat roles or not, you're spending lots and lots of time away from home. And she had a kid, and I guess she decided that cheating was the best way to fulfill whatever weird need she wasn't getting anymore. And, she moves away. After they get back from Korea, she moves back in with her mother, and my brother had to live off base, because you're not allowed to live on base without your family, right? If you're married, like, you can't live in the single bunkers with all the rest of the single people who don't have places to live. You have to end up getting put outside of the base, which costs you much more money. Even if they give you an allowance for housing, it's not that great.
Yeah.
He was not allowed to see his kids. He had to pay child support. Ran him broke while he was in the military. He had also gotten Lyme disease from the military during basic and AIT. He got fucked royally. And you know what he's doing now? He went full fucking MGTOW. Like, he is literally
Yeah.
acting like he no longer has children. And I don't blame him. He didn't call them on their birthday. He didn't do any, like, he didn't try to send them anything. He can't afford child support. So him and my dad are wandering around in Colorado right now, just living it up because he got out of the military. He ain't got no money. He ain't got no place to go. So fuck it, I'm gonna go be a hobo MGTOW somewhere. And it terrifies me, the state that we have put men in our country. We have literally given them nothing.
I mean, for
Well, I
everything.
wanna
I mean, he
make a
risked his life. Go ahead. Sorry.
I
Well,
mean,
I want
not
to
really.
address the comment that liberal lunacy make to support what you're saying. These
Yeah.
women are common. My buddy who was in the army was naive enough to marry one, and she physically abused and broke his ribs with a hammer. He called the cops, and he was taken away in handcuffs.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, and this is
I mean,
Broken ribs
what
and all?
cop? Yeah, what cop goes up to a guy saying my ribs are broken with a hammer and says, "All right, you're going to fucking jail, bitch."
because that's the Duluth model. The Duluth model says that a man is always guilty, even if someone else started it. Even if the woman started it, he is guilty and he needs to be taken away.
We need to stop acting like prison and
You
homeless shelters are men domestic violence shelters. They're not.
but going off that point too, this is something that I find very interesting about feminism in general. Is you can see a situation like this and you can bring it up, and the ultimate question has to be asked. I mean, how are men oppressing women when a man with his rib cage broken, not even fractured, but just straight broken, gets sent to jail because he was getting abused? I mean, how could you then defend that conclusion that all of society is against women when the police will take the man away when he was the one that was getting beaten for a while? Like, where's the cognitive dissonance there that I don't understand that sometimes. I don't get that.
Well, it's
A
like
lot
what I
of-
said right at the beginning, is that feminists realize that they could make money off of this, and all they have to keep saying is they're not getting help. And that's really all this is, it's all about the Benjamins. They just want money. And that's why they're going to keep saying that they're being oppressed, when in truth the exact opposite is true.
I think a lot of problems when it comes to feminism is that they focus on how things affect women, and they look at women victims so closely that when they decide that laws are good and just, it's when it benefits the woman victim the most, right? So you go back to old paternity laws, when it came to divorce and stuff, the children used to be given to the man for obvious reasons. He has all the money and the stability. What are the children going to do with somebody who's probably just going to run off and marry some other man and take his money and have children with him, right? They don't need that extra bit of children going to some man who isn't their father. So they left it with the father. It tore women apart for obvious reasons. It was tragic for them, I imagine, not being able to see their kids. And those laws got changed, and how did they get changed? They got changed that in the matter of a divorce or a separation, the children are automatically rewarded to the woman first and foremost before any court dates to decide on custody, right? And now we're not considering the other side of the equation. They take all of the victimhood that women may have faced, right? The beatings and all the different kind of stuff. They build laws around it to protect those women, and it leaves the men who are victims of similar crimes or different crimes that are affected by these laws, shit out of luck. Just completely shit out of luck. And
That reminds
there's
me.
really no way of fixing it without telling women, look, I know you think this is your right, and we're not trying to take this away from you, but you have to look at the other people in this scenario.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the article that me and Mad Cat talked about. I think it was last Monday about how women, now that men are actually getting, some, not necessarily equal custody, but more custody. Women are getting mad about it again,
Made me sick.
and yeah, they're like, I only get to have 4 out of 3 days of the week with my children. It's fucking awful.
The woman who goes, he took them and got a haircut without me, and I couldn't put my baby's hair in a ponytail anymore. That's exactly how I
what the
read
article
it.
said.
Exactly.
And that's something that I
Oh.
find very interesting. It's like they don't even think or care about the effect that a father has on their children. I mean, the mere fact that they even got a divorce without stopping to think about, the kind of lessons that you learn from your mother and your father, that they even split that up. And now they even furthermore get upset that the father wants to be in their kid's life. Let's think about all the black community alone. I mean, this happens to white people too, but you see smaller. Think about all of the different people who get on black men who don't raise their children, or who have to and leave and don't care and make.
Sir sneezed a white man's internet.
Well,
Custody of their children. They're horrible people. Are you kidding me? Like, what do you want? Like, do you want men in your kid's life or do you not? I mean, it's like you can't make these people happy.
Nope.
well, there was a study done, and I don't know when it was exactly done, but I sort of have an article on it that actually shows that children who don't have access to their fathers actually do worse in life. Like they have a diminished self-concept, they have behavioral problems, they have poor academic performance. And it has been noted that you need two parents in a child's life. One who's the compassionate one, and one who's a little bit more strict. And
Yep.
having that strictness in your life can also give you a sense of courage, a sense of accomplishment when you do something.
Because you gotta, fight against the strict parent. Go ask your father. Oh, God, no. I don't want to ask Dad.
So, I mean, having a father in a child's life can really promote a child to be successful in life. But feminists
and thus
will
millennials.
What's up?
And thus the phenomena of millennials and how fucking unruly they are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we want, especially with the black community, it's like we want women. Women say they want the fathers around, and they're not. But in some cases, it's actually better if the father leaves, so the woman can get on welfare. Because while the father is there, they can't get on welfare. And when welfare was first introduced, that's what a lot of families had to do, is they had to separate because they couldn't afford to take care of the children. And it's not that just men left because they didn't want to be caregivers. They left because that was what was best for their family.
Yeah, another thing that I wanted to mention is that, not all women, but I'm sure in a lot of cases, women are maybe either by their own fault or not, doesn't matter, having children, out of wedlock with men who are not necessarily the best father figures. And then, once they leave, they use that to, victimize themselves and say, when's a man going to step up? But even if the man came back, they wouldn't want them in their lives because they're probably an asshole. And that's just some cases. I'm sure.
Oh,
Not
this
all
is
of them.
actually a mating strategy. Can we talk about biology really quick? So,
Go
two
ahead.
female mating strategies. There's hypergamy, which everyone loves to talk about lately, which is being taken out of context a lot.
I would
Marrying
agree.
up, right?
I would
Marrying
agree
up.
with that.
It's more of a I need somebody with more resources than me because babies. So it makes sense. But another female mating habit, and this can be seen in birds as well, what they do is they have sex with what you would call an alpha male. Men with high testosterone, men that get around, because they obviously got some good genes, because all the women wants to fucks them. And then, once they are pregnant or have a kid, they settle down with a male with higher estrogen levels who seems a little more domesticated. Why? Because that extra estrogen makes them not want to leave. And they settle down and they take care of you and they're very nurturing and loving because, it tends to be the average progression of male hormones as it is. They start losing their testosterone out of their 20s and it slowly starts turning a little more estrogen-y. And that's where you get like dad bods and, the fatherly roles and stuff. Shit like that. This is a mating habit, and it's not working out very well for people.
Oh, no.
It used to work when you could fake men into marrying you because you're pregnant, and being pregnant out of wedlock was a no-no, and you could convince them, yeah, no, it's totally your kid. It's totally your kid. But it's not working very well right now because men, rightfully so, go, I don't want to raise your fucking bastard kid. I still need to reproduce. You got your genes, handled. I need to get my genes handled. It's the basic progression of life. I love it.
Yeah, it's an interesting. They try to cuckold guys.
Oh yeah, well, of course they do. You don't date the nice guy when he's interested in you.
You date him
the
when you
nice
have
guy
no other
when you
options.
need him. That's like, all these really fine women. Like, why can't I find a nice guy? It's like, because you open your legs for any guy that looks hot.
Yeah, or any guy that doesn't like you. And I get so much flack for that. When I say that maybe young ladies should stop having sex with people they don't like. People get mad at me. You're slut shaming, and you shouldn't tell people who they should. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Stop! You're having sex with people you don't like. How is that bad advice? Well, I'm not saying this to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. I want you to be in a good relationship. Why are you getting mad at me for telling you to not have sex with people that treat you badly? Where's the frustration there? And people will get upset with me, saying I'm slut shaming and I'm a slut shamer and whatnot. I mean, if that's slut shaming, then they need to be shamed. Like, why would you want? Like, there's this one chick. Her name was Savannah Brown, who wrote a poem. Who wrote a poem about how guys don't pleasure her well enough. They don't care about her orgasm or anything. They don't care about making her feel good during sex. So I just slide in there like, have sex with guys that do. Have sex with men that want you to orgasm. Problem solved. Problem solution, lady. Are you kidding me? If you have sex with guys who don't like you, you're never going to orgasm because they don't care.
And you know what? For a little bit of balance of this slut shaming, let me add, for the gentlemen who like to have sex with sluts, don't do it. Don't fucking do it.
Well,
not worth it.
Let me add this as well. Going on, don't sleep with the sluts. Because this was a conversation I had on a men's rights group and on Facebook. We're talking about how, like, there's all these really, really beautiful women, But when it comes to sex, all they're going to do is just lay there. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to put any effort in. And then they go like on Twitter and it's like, oh yeah, I'm the best. I'm really, really good at sex. And it's like, no, you're
I got that bomb ass pussy.
Dick
You'll
sucker
just
for life.
lay there. But, you know, you get a woman who doesn't think that she's God's gift to men, who understands, like, yeah, she has a little bit of flaws. She'll try harder. You'll have a better experience with a woman that's not exactly society standards of beauty. Society standard of beauty way too high, not worth it, too much maintenance. Go with a cute girl, she'll try a little bit harder to please you. She'll actually get on top and rock her hips a little bit and like smack your face with her tits. That's the kind of girl you want to be with.
And I think in these ladies' defense, you know, they don't have to try. They don't have to do anything, you know. And because no one, I'm not going to say force for lack of a better word, no one forces them to try harder. They don't have to. You know, that's why they do it, you know, so if more men kind of had expectations or kind of forced them to put in some effort, I'm pretty sure they would. No, or not. Yeah, who knows?
Well, okay. So other point about slutty women, why you should probably avoid them, and I mean this in all honesty with my heart in the right place, because I know quite a few people who would consider me a slut. Do not have sex with them and expect a relationship. You know what? Better yet, you can have sex with them all you want. If you want to have sex with them all you want, you can. But I promise you, you will never satisfy them.
So you think that I can never satisfy you, Missy?
Well, I mean, I have changed my ways. No, but the thing is that they're always going to be looking for, you know, well, maybe this doesn't do it for me anymore, because people forget sex. A lot of sex is the excitement of having sex with somebody that you've never had sex with before, right? Part of the excitement of sex is the exhilarating experience of something new and exciting, which is why you see lots of self-help articles about how to spice up your relationship. Yeah. Because if you don't spice it up, they're going to cheat on you. That's the underlying idea here. So, I mean, I've heard lots of virgin women, and, like, I used to criticize them as a feminist. I'm like, how are you even going to know what you like? How are you going to know what you want? But maybe it's better to find out what you want with one person, or maybe, you know, the least amount of people as possible, and just be happy with it. I tell women now, instead of, you know, finding somebody they like, right? I tell them, nobody is going to make sparks fly for you every single time you have sex. It's not going to be some magical moment every single time. What you gotta learn is how to get yourself off so that you are still satisfied at the end of it. If you don't know how to do you, he's not gonna know how to do you. So that's more important than finding somebody who makes, you know, your tummy feel good afterwards.
There was an article I read not too long ago on my channel where a woman claimed that her lack of orgasm during sex was a function of the patriarchy. It was entirely sexist that men don't make her orgasm. But the thing is that she did admit that she doesn't talk to her partners about what gets her off, about what she would like to have done. She expected men to know. And it's like, there's no way a man is going to know. I mean, if I had sex with one girl who did tell me, my first instinct is, well, whatever worked with that girl, the next girl, I'm probably going to do the same thing.
It doesn't always work.
It doesn't always work, but that's just my instinct to do. But if a woman tells me, then I can do it. I have no problem doing it. If you like me to, like, you know, poke your ass a little bit while I play with your clit, I'll do it. Just let me know.
So
No,
this is
you're
the
right,
awkward
man.
moment where Zerst tells us he likes people to poke his ass a little bit.
Yes, I do.
No, that's not. No. I was gonna cap off on that, man, because I've noticed that a lot with a lot of young ladies is, and just the other day, like in preparation for the next video I'm making, I saw this woman talking about guys don't. It was like this stupid Instagram post that said maybe guys need to stop sexualizing breasts and start sexualizing the clitoris so they can learn how to bleed. And so I was sitting here and I'm thinking for a little
Oh,
bit. I'm like,
well,
first off,
fair.
I'm like point one. I'm like, well, breasts, that's evolutionary. Like no one, you don't consciously sit here and think and analyze sexualized breasts. You just look at them and be like, hey, they look good, right?
I do.
And the second thing, no, but the second thing I was thinking about here was like, well, how come you never talk to these people about it? If you really want your clitoris to be stimulated, why don't you ever say anything? Why don't you talk to this person? And
They
see,
only
if
talk to other women about it.
exactly. If you only fuck strangers, strangers aren't going to know what you like. If the only thing you focus on is consent and saying yes and it being enthusiastic yes, and you never really focus on what you like and building a connection with someone, how can you have this expectation that they're going to work to please you? They don't care about you. You're a stranger, and you don't care about them because he's a
Well,
stranger. So you have
okay,
two strangers sitting here having sex with each other, saying yes, but they don't really connect with each other. They don't really care about each other. They just want to orgasm. So how can you have this expectation of guys wanting to serve you when they don't care about you? It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, so and then people think that it's a crazy expectation. Like I know I'm going all over topics, but I meant to make this video a while back ago. Some guys are talking about open relationships, right? How your partner isn't enough for you. They don't stimulate you or anything like that. And I'm sitting here, and they would say, like, why would you want to be in a monogamous relationship? And I'm like, simple, because I'm comfortable and I like the person. There's no deep,
Because I don't want
complex
AIDS.
reason. There you go. I don't want AIDS.
Herpes.
I like the person.
Syphilis.
I enjoy spending time with them. That's why I want to be in a monogamous relationship. That's why it's
Gonorrhea.
comfortable. It's good. It's nice. And then there's STDs. But the point is, when you with someone that you trust and you like, they're gonna want to make you feel good. When someone who likes you, they want to do it enthusiastically. They don't have to say yes 25 times. They're gonna do it because they want you to feel good, right? Instead of fucking strangers, have sex with someone that likes you. And it seems simple enough advice, but I tell you, people don't want to hear it for some reason. They don't want to hear have good relationships with people that care about you.
Well,
It's interesting, man.
one thing I would point out with that thing
Oh,
you're
and
mentioning about
babies.
not sexualizing breasts and instead sexualize the clit. Well, in society, we got breasts thrown in our face constantly. It's not
Oh
like
yeah.
the girl is putting her clitoris in public in someone's face.
True. Yeah.
Should we start doing this, Medusa? Should we
Flip train?
just start like making clothes that emphasize the clitoris?
Oh,
Just pokes it out.
Well,
from
there
the
are
front.
purses out there that show a vagina on the side.
Yeah,
That's
I
interesting.
figure that's what they're trying to do with all the vagina memorabilia. Which, by the way, one day me and NC are going to make a capitalist profit off of vagina sculptures with dolphins jumping out of them. We've decided this. Maybe with soap. I don't know yet. I think it'd make a nice little soap. You could like jack off the dolphin. Because we all know women kind of still want to do that a little bit. That's why they buy dildo soap. Anyway, I think besides the fact that it's wrong to say that we sexualize certain objects, we don't do
Yeah,
that.
that's-
Our brains do that, right? I
Yeah.
think they have a fair point with the clitoris. I feel like it's going to be a little awkward at first because the clitoris is the female equivalent to the penis. So It's going to take some time. Just like no one sexualizes penises, right? We don't sexualize a penis. We make fun of penises. That's why we draw dicks all over the place. That's why all of our jokes are the dick jokes. I saw a tattoo that was a bag of dicks the other day. That was lovely. So I don't know how easy it'll be to sexualize the clitoris, but I think we sexualize the clitoris and the prostate, and we make it awkward for everybody.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, I don't disagree with them wanting their clitorises to be stimulated more. That's perfectly reasonable. What I'm trying to get is, why would you expect that from a stranger? That's what I'm trying to get. Like,
well, here's the other kicker: is not all women like their clitoris played
Yeah, I was
with.
about to say that
Some
too.
really have like such sensitivity issues that they don't want it touched. But again, they're not going to say anything right away about it. They're going to be like, the moment it gets too much, it's like, stop, stop, stop. And it's like, then the guy feels like they've done something wrong. Something I do, like something I've had to learn to do when it comes to having sex with women, is I'll tell them right away, look, there's a very good chance that I'm not going to have an orgasm when I have sex with you. Now, this has nothing to do with you. This has entirely everything to do with me, especially when I'm wearing a condom. I'm not going to feel anything when I'm inside you. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it. I perfectly enjoy it. It just means that I don't have an orgasm. And I tell women this up front, because if I don't, and I don't orgasm, they're going to give me such the guilt trips, like, oh no, I'm a horrible lover because I didn't make you orgasm. I want to avoid that, so I tell them right away, hey, it's probably not going to happen.
Liberal Lunacy says she sexualizes the penis.
she has an obelisk in her backyard.
Dun, 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 dun.
What makes me laugh is that reminds me of the, like, I already told you, Mad Cat, about this, the fucking Itty Bitty Titty Committee movie where they put or they take over an entire news station that's like covering a story about the Washington Monument, and they just like Photoshop a dick on top of it and blow it up with special effects, and they're like, we don't need more dicks in this world. God, you guys should watch that movie.
I'm still trying to find it. I can't find it anywhere. But, you know, if anything, we need more dicks in the world. Men everywhere, tomorrow, just take off your pants and be proud of what you got. And women, idolize it.
Yes. Praise the penis.
You know. Speaking of body positivity, how do you guys feel about that topic?
About what?
About what?
Body
Positivity?
Yeah.
You know what?
I think it's
okay with wanting to be happy with yourself, about being happy with the way you look, but I think feminists take it too far and saying, well, you shouldn't shame someone for being fat. You shouldn't, like, if you're not attracted to a woman who's fat, you should feel bad about that. You know, it's basically stripping away anyone's sexual preference and saying that you should find everyone attractive at all times. And it doesn't matter what your personal tastes are.
What did I miss?
Body positivity. We just started talking about that.
Oh.
I mean, you know, I am. It's taken a little while for me to like stop being a whiny piece of shit and, you know, be confident about my body, but I'm also aware of the fact that I need to exercise more and eat less. So, I mean, just for a healthy body, not necessarily a hot body. And I mean, I think everybody should just strive for that anyways, unless they don't give a fuck, you know. Like, do what you want, but yeah. I mean, but at least don't shoot up heroin and say body positivity.
I won't do that.
Get doped up. Get doped up.
So,
everybody is
proud
beautiful.
meth addict.
I think.
Go ahead, Zers.
Okay, what I was going to say is one thing that I find, it's a little more philosophical, is kind of the point that everybody is beautiful, and I would say certainly everybody's beautiful to someone, but to say that everybody is beautiful is to say that nobody is beautiful because there's no standard of which to measure a body. So I think it's fine to say that everyone's going to be attracted to different things, because I mean that's just a true statement. It's going to happen. But to try to make it so that pretty girls can't be happy. I mean, you can't really be proud of being attractive because you didn't do anything. But I mean, like, to be happy with looking good, or
That's
like
not true.
or if
Medusa dyed her hair green.
That did
well,
kind of.
okay.
That looks nice. I
Or
like it.
like putting on makeup.
Thank you.
I like if you have good makeup skills, I understand being great with that. That makes perfect sense. But aside from stuff like that, like if there's no standard of which you can compare one person to another.
You're breaking up, Z.
Someone is beautiful. There's no standard to compare them to. So there's got to be something there to say that something looks good or something doesn't look good. That body is beautiful. And the other thing that gets me is kind of like the straight diversity of people who like, say, bigger women, or who like I actually don't. I've never seen any woman who really likes fat guys. I'm not saying they don't exist.
I have.
I've never seen it. I've never seen very many
Chubby
women.
chasers.
Yeah, I've never seen a lot of women who like super skinny guys. I know a lot of girls did like me when I was super skinny. I've never seen that. But the sheer diversity I've seen from men who like all different kinds of women is amazing to me. So amazing that a part of me doesn't even understand body positivity, because like big fluffy women, skinny women, average women, they can find somebody that's gonna love them for who they are. They can get that. So for me, on the one hand, I don't really see why they need this aggrandizement when they can find someone that really likes what they look like and who they are. And that's another thing about body positivity, because I get the point. I get where they're going, and you should be, fine, or at least apathetic about the way you look. You should at least get to that level. It does suck to hate the way you look.
Mm-hmm.
However, I mean, again, as a woman, you can find someone that's going to like you. You can find someone somewhere that's going to appreciate you. So I get the point, but it seems a little too much to me at times. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Some thoughts.
The problem with body positivity, which I understand why someone wants to feel beautiful and wants to be respected. I feel like that all the fucking time. One of the things that Liberal Lunacy just mentioned in the chat is men need to hear that they're attractive more often. The only time I hear
they really don't.
I'm attractive is when I'm in a relationship. And I've just started to come to like kind of disbelieve it anytime I hear it, because I don't hear it anywhere else. But
I can go ahead.
The body positivity movement, first off, is just directed at females. It's not directed at men at all. But the second problem is it also encourages unhealthy lifestyles. Like, look, if you're a big girl and you're happy about that, that's all well and fine. But don't, attack, a beautiful woman who chooses to be skinny and, like, say, oh, well, you're just fat shaming me because you exist. Or taking this whole fat shaming of, well, someone said that I lost a lot of weight and I just feel like that's shaming me for being beautiful, or that I looked really good. I mean, there's that video on YouTube. I don't remember where I saw it, but someone was just saying, a lot of people are like, yeah, when someone commented on how good I looked after I lost a lot of weight, I just felt really bad, which caused me to lose even more weight. And that's like, we're not responsible for that. We were giving you a compliment, and a compliment is now the worst thing you can give to anyone. And it all started with this body positivity movement.
So, lots of my problems with feminism is their excessive need to take advantage of young, impressionable minds and indoctrinate them. And just like rape culture, which is my biggest fuss when it comes to feminists teaching children this, And I know it sounds like a broken record because I bring it up a lot, and that's because feminists do, and because it's a horrible, horrible thing to teach your children. So is body positivity. And I'm going to say this as kindly as I can. Children are always going to be insecure about their fucking bodies. They're going through lots of changes. They've got lots of hormones going on. You know, they're a little confused. Their bodies aren't quite where they need to be. Even the most attractive kids are horrified by their bodies. This is very, very common. It's extremely common in women because our hormones give extra flame to this fire. And we don't start accepting our bodies, from what I've observed, not just hormonally, but just in reference to all the women that I went to high school with. They don't start feeling positive about their bodies until they're around this age, 23, mid-20s to 30s. They start going, I'm comfortable with my body, I don't care how I look, blah, 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 stuff like that. And to convince children that, it's just your body, that's fine, right? It's just your body, it's your hormones, it'll pass. We've been telling children this since probably the dawn of history of ever. But lately, you have feminists who will turn around and say it is hurtful and wrong and mean and oppressive to make fun of people and how they look, which is a common coping mechanism of children in school. They don't like how they look, so they're going to make fun of how other people look. And this is, now, bullying is bad. Yes, we all know this, but it's extremely common, and everyone gets bullied at least once in their life. Especially before they're an adult. So you're not special.
And it's nice to hear the female perspective on this, but, men also have issues with their bodies.
Yes,
they definitely have a lot of body image issues, especially, like me growing up. I wasn't athletic, I wasn't very good looking, and, I was just, very kind of ashamed of myself. There weren't like a barrage of women knocking on my door. So there definitely was this like inadequacy that I felt about myself. I always said that, if we walked around naked, I would have been a slut overnight. But, people don't get to see my best feature when I'm walking around. So, it's like I don't have muscles, And yeah, men go kind of through the same thing, and I don't know if men ever really do get to feel comfortable about their bodies. I think somewhere along the line they just kind of give up with their bodies.
I can tell you, when I was growing up, this is kind of funny. I used to be a really short, small kid back in the day, and I literally prayed to God to make me tall. Because I used to think my problem with girls, I used to think my problem with women was I was shorter than them. So they didn't want to date a guy who was shorter, right? So I literally prayed to God. I asked God, "You please make me tall," and I got tall. If you can be an atheist, I'm not trying to convert you here, But I am 6 feet tall now, That's my testimony. No, but on a serious notion, on topic.
Hormones are a social construct. None of that happens.
And even though I got taller, it didn't change anything. It did not help me out, and it made me feel worse. And so I started exercising and working out. And I remember, as a kid, a huge motivation for me exercising until I was like 17 was genuinely just to become attractive for women. It took me a long time to focus on becoming stronger because I want to be stronger and because I want my body to be well. It was motivated by the fact that a lot of women rejected me. And that's something that I found in a lot of men. One of my best friends, he's a short guy. I think he's like 5'4". He exercised he's really cut. You know, he was really strong back in the day in high school, and he exercised to that point because he was sad about the fact that he was short. He had low self-esteem because he didn't think a lot of women wanted to be with short guys. It is absolutely something that affects a lot of young men that is hardly ever addressed. The low self-esteem that they feel, especially the shorter branch of men. And I think it's sad because it's legitimate, I think. That's the worst part about it. The worst part is there are a lot of women who are like, the guy's too short for me. I don't want to date a guy shorter than me.
Yeah.
And it's sad that they actually hear that.
I'm gonna be that person because I am that person. I am 5'1.5 inches. So when I meet a man who is shorter than me, for biological reasons, my body goes, nope, sorry, I'm already short enough. I need somebody a tad bit taller than you. And I've never said to a man's face, like, I'm sorry, I can't date you, you're too short for me. But I have thought it internally. I have considered it. And a lot of the men that I find that are shorter than me, which is very rare, I can't, for some reason, something about them I just can't get attracted to. And so that's why I don't feel bad about fat women who can't find partners, right? Or really, really tall women who have problems finding a partner because she's taller than all of her prospective mates, and that kind of turns men off as well. So it's kind of like, I feel bad because I don't want to discriminate that way. I've learned to pass up like the idea that, you know, just because they're a bit fluffy means that they're no good, right? I can now look at larger boned men and go, yeah, he's attractive. I've worked through that bias, but I am still trying to work through the bias of not being against short people.
Well, two things. First off, MissyJ, you sound like you're short enough for me to use the joke that I'm nuts over you. And second, Z, when you talk to God about being taller, did it go something like, I wish I was a little taller, I wish I was a baller, I wish...
How black people pray. Oh God.
He was the original writer of that song.
That's racist.
Yeah, I'm a horrible person.
Okay, but I actually dated. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Vanessa.
Well, I actually dated quite a few men who were shorter than me, and for a while I actually seeked out men who were shorter, just because I thought they were cute, I guess.
Aww.
Because, well, I mean, I'm 5'10", so it wasn't that hard, but
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah, that's
ironically
pretty good height for a woman.
Ironically, when I go after women, I go for shorter women.
Oh, is that why you like NC?
Yeah.
NC's shorter than
No,
Wow,
no, she isn't. NC is taller than me by 2 inches. 2 or 3 inches.
Well, apparently Warped Reflection is taller than you by a half an inch.
Woo!
So maybe if Warped Reflection swings that way, maybe you should like get her phone number.
I'll talk to you later, Warped Reflection.
What's up?
Coming for you.
But this one guy that I dated who was about 5'5", I believe, he felt very, I don't know, not discriminated against, but like just, you know, he just felt like shit because he was shorter, and he saw stuff on the internet saying like, if you're below 5'6", then you're not a real man, and you know, he felt like he was forced to become charismatic to be able to get women to like him, and that's what made me like him, probably, was not just the shortness, but yeah, basically.
No, I hate the Napoleon complex.
He was also He was also a Jewish Canadian ginger, so he had that.
Oh, God,
Jewish
Jesus,
Canadian
that
ginger.
connection. God, he had no soul, woman. What were you thinking? You see, I
know.
met a few short guys with the Napoleon complex. I need to overcompensate for my shortness, and it was never a very good compensation. It was always like, whoa, this is way too intense. No, get away from me. Stop it.
Oh
What
yeah,
are
there
you
are
doing,
definitely
please?
people who can overdo it.
Like Prince Farquaad.
But
Like Prince Farquaad.
yeah.
A whole movie about loving yourself without caring about how you look makes fun of a short dude through the entire movie.
You know, but the thing is, if I can put on my analysis glasses on, he represented that to a T. I mean, whether he was oblivious to how short he was, he really did not. I mean, it did not bother him all that much. He really did epitomize the ultimate lesson of the movie. So
Yeah, fair. He did.
Well, he was also in a position of power, so he could make the rest of the world cater to what he needed.
this is true, yeah.
The politics of Shrek. Now I want to watch the movie.
Shrek marathon right now.
Which one was better, Shrek 1 or 2? We won't pretend like 3 or any of the other ones existed.
Oh,
I
God.
personally love the second
I would
one.
have to say maybe the second one was the better of the two.
Me too. I think we all agree on that.
Shrek 1 is a very close second.
I have the soundtrack to Shrek 2. True story.
I'm pretty sure my boyfriend has one too. He actually, he told me he would listen to it on the way to bus, or on the bus on the way to school. And actually, he said he was singing like one of the Smash Mouth songs on the bus, and then some girl tapped him on the shoulder and was like, "Can you fucking stop singing? You are fucking horrible."
I get that a lot.
I'm holding out for a hero till the morning night.
You know what? I think that song.
Wait, what?
I was gonna say, that song. You know, when as a kid, I always thought it was kind of catchy and cool, but looking back at it as an adult,
Like,
I think it's not that it's horrible, but the fact that she's asking for a hero, she's asking for a man to come and do a bunch of things for her, and that's a lot of women have these high standards, but the thing that gets me is they get so offended when you ask to reciprocate that. Like if you ask for a sandwich, it's very stereotypical, of course. But if you work all day, or you're really tall, if you're really strong and you protect her and you do all these things for her, you're supposed to be her knight, basically. If you ask her to do anything for you, say she needs to exercise, get at a healthy weight, that's misogyny. That's horrible, right? Jennifer Lopez has this song called "I Ain't Your Mama," right? Where she plays the role of like a 1950 wife, and she's talking about how she's upset about the way the man treats her now. Actually, there's not very many lyrics in the song. It's really more a presentation piece. And I thought it was interesting how she's going around saying, "I'm not your mama. I'm not going to cook and clean for you anymore." But then I'm thinking, if you have kids, would you not be a mom? What the? If you have children, wouldn't you have to do their laundry? Wouldn't you have to do this stuff for them? Isn't that the whole point of a marriage, to make a stable environment for your children? I mean, ain't that just something you're supposed to do? And I don't see men asking very much from women outside of the guys who just want to have sex. Like, in my experience, it's been a smaller minority of men who just want to go around having sex with women. And I don't know if this is irony or if this is just a natural consequence of things. The ones that women want to have the most sex with, right? So the men who are the most shallow, the men who don't care, who just want to have sex, they're the ones who get the most sex. The men that I've seen who want to be with women, which are the vast majority in my experience, they don't. They don't have a lot of sex. And it's really interesting to me how they don't ever ask for much from women. They don't ask, especially male feminists. Either they're sneaky and they're just trying to get to have sex by telling the woman what she wants to hear, or if they're genuine and they do what the woman asks, they don't ask for much. They just kind of want a woman to just kind of like them, just kind of talk to them, treat them well. And it's so interesting to me how this woman, Jennifer Lopez, I mean, completely neglecting the fact that, I mean, she's wealthy as all hell. Now, this woman here is saying, I'm not going to do anything for you, but you still have to have a job. You still got to be tall, keep your hair cut. You still have to be this top-notch man. But if you ask me to do anything for you, fuck your shit. It's amazing to me, like the level of arrogance and like conceit that it takes to sit here and say, you have to do all of this for me, but don't you dare ask me to reciprocate that, is mind-blowing to me.
What's interesting about what you're talking about there is feminists will often talk about the stud culture. Like, oh, men just go around and they brag about how they slept with this woman or that woman. And I forget who talked about it, but the whole stud culture thing is actually designed by women.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they allow these men to sleep with them, and, you know, they have to be charismatic. They have to have, you know, a really great car. They have to invest so much of themselves just sleeping with women, and most men don't actually respect these guys. They kind of look at them as fools. It's like, dude, I'm not going to get, you know, a Aston Martin and a really great suit to just go to a club and hope that a girl's going to sleep with me. You know, I'm going to play Mario Kart.
Yeah, exactly. I don't see very many men. I've seen, the thing that gets me is it's usually like a group of men who will congratulate each other, which makes sense to me. I mean, because they're friends, and when your friend's happy, you're happy. I do not see this being a widespread thing for male and masculinity, because I don't respect it. I mean, like, if men are supposed to have sex with women, then it's not special to have sex with women. So why am I congratulating you on doing it? You're just doing something you're supposed to do, and thus, you know, you're not special. Well, I don't see this culture.
That's why you congratulate them if they have 2 or more women at one time. That you congratulate. Because women are crazy. They can't be around each other for very long.
Because somebody wants 2 women arguing and bickering about how they didn't have an orgasm. That's really what we want. 2 women doing it at the same time. Then they'll both write an article about you. Talk about the patriarchy oppressing them. What was I going to say? You know what? I forgot. Ignore me.
Well, you know what really creeps me out about the, you know, how you, like, the stud culture is that the women using the term fuckboy now, and it just it makes me cringe so hard. Like, when I was, before this, fuckboy to me meant a boy you fuck, you know, a sex slave. Like, now, you know, it's just like fuckboys are now the term for a guy who, I guess, plays women all the time, and it just sounds gross to me.
I've never heard the term. Now, growing up where I did, because I went to primarily urbanized schools while I was growing up, a lot of the term fuckboy was thrown around in reference to almost in the same respect of calling them a pussy, pretty much telling them they weren't man enough. Part of being a man is, you know, owning up and staying faithful, so a fuckboy would be like a male slut, stuff like that. So I don't mind the word fuckboy. I do mind the word fuckboy when it's used out of context, because that was the context I grew up with. My thing with stud culture is I tell feminists this, and they don't understand, because any problem a feminist has with a man, they have to realize has been the fault of women since the dawn of history, right? We have bred this way so that, you know, men are kind of almost programmed, and I know a lot of people hate the idea of genetic determinism, and if you have a problem with it, go take a course in genetics. The the idea is that they have developed traits that women find attractive because women go out and fuck men they find attractive and have babies with men they find attractive. So these traits get passed down and passed down and passed down, and part of that is being, risk takers and, strong and masculine, right? This has kind of been bred into men, and I tell feminists, if you want a world with less male aggression, have sex with more submissive men.
But they won't.
They won't.
But they won't.
In fact, I made it a tweet. And I said that, and a feminist quoted my tweet and retweeted it with, "If women wanted equality, they would have sex with people they don't want to have sex with." And I said, "Thank you for elaborating that point. You did very well."
Thank you for embellishing my idea.
Funny.
I couldn't help myself.
Where's the self-awareness?
Nowhere.
All she did was just explain what you were saying.
I remember one of the best sexual experience I ever had was like a girl that was like the stereotypical nerdy girl. I mean, she had the glasses, she was kind of short, she had like curly hair, but not very long. And it's like, you look at her and it's like, oh yeah, there's nothing attractive about this woman, but she got naked and it's like, oh my God, she had some of the best breasts I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, maybe a guy is not like drop dead gorgeous when you see him, but he probably knows a thing or two about pleasing you.
Probably, yeah.
And a lot of men would want to, I tell you, one of the best things for me about women is I like making women happy. I really do. And a lot of the relationships I try to have, I do my best to try, to make her, enjoy my presence and enjoy the time that we have with each other.
Hashtag
and I've met,
get BASSFzz a girlfriend. This is happening
no, but seriously, and I've met more men who like women and want to treat women well than I have ever met men who don't care. But the thing is, women want the men who don't care. And you can call it a stereotype, you can call me sexist, but it's true. It's true.
Well,
I've seen
it is a stereotype, and you are sexist, but you are also telling the truth. But
I mean,
yeah, I've seen this firsthand, that girls will knowingly, like, this one girl I was really interested in, and we were friends and all of that, so I got friend zoned, even though we had sex a few times. But she knowingly chose a guy who, did coke all the time. And
oh, God.
he said specifically to me, it's like, yeah, I know he's going to treat me like shit, but I can't help it. I'm attracted to him, and knowingly passed me up because I wasn't exciting enough. Because I didn't live the lifestyle that she thought was all that great.
I've got a mountain of stories I could tell. I can tell you one just for now. There's this one girl I really cared about. This girl too. It really sucks. And she was actually getting abused by her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was actually putting his hands on her. And she wanted him. She wanted to stay with him. And I remember we were on Facebook, and he wrote this long post about how she was tired of him and how she just hated the relationship, right? So I slide in there, and I've always been a pretty blunt guy for the most part, and I just straight up said, look, listen, if you're not happy, you in the relationship, if you really don't like him, if it really bothers, and this was before I knew he was abusing her, and I was just telling her straight up, look, if you don't like the guy, if he bothers you that much, in the relationship, move on. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Next day, I fuck you not. The next day, I tried to sit next to her on the bus. I said, hey, what's up? She said, why are you? Huh? Why? I thought you didn't like me anymore. I'm like, what? This girl actually got upset with me because I told her that you should leave your boyfriend who treats you badly. She was angry with me because I told her the truth. True shit. I wish I was making this up.
It's called Stockholm syndrome.
I love I love you so much, Zers. You are such a great man, and I know that someday you're going to find a great woman to compliment you. I completely appreciate you telling people the truth they don't want to hear. Um, I have this girl who comes up to me at work. She's probably, 16 now? She's been telling me for the last year and a half about her trends of abusive boyfriends. Yeah, she like me has a trend of picking men who aren't the best for them, and so she comes to me very often for advice. I get this a lot, especially with young girls, and she was telling me that she had finally lost her virginity. Now, she's very religious, like you're religious, so I was surprised nonetheless. And that she had done it a few times, and that she wasn't feeling any spark or magic. She didn't feel special. He didn't make her feel very loved. Sometimes he would say really mean things to her, like call her, God, what was it, a fuck doll or something like that? Like, he was literally treating this poor child, and he was older. He was a senior in high school. So he's taking advantage of a smaller girl, and I know that they're a little more mature for their age, and she didn't feel right about it, so she came to me. And now this is probably the third or fourth boyfriend that she's come to me about being, abusive, about being mean, and I've seen her at work. She's very hot-tempered. She's got quite the attitude on her. She will come into work with her hands kind of bruised up from punching things. She reminds me of my stepsister in that aspect. So I finally didn't know what else to tell her about, just moving on and finding somebody who will respect her or treat her well. So I looked at her and I said, do you want to learn the hard lesson I had to learn a little sooner than later, because it'll do you wonders? She said, what's that? I said, you have to find out what is wrong with you that is causing these men to be drawn to you. You need to find out what it is that makes you a target. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to give you the answer to the question. You're abusive. You need to find out how you haven't learned the right way to love somebody. You have to find out how to respect people and how to recognize what respect looks like. And you need to stop looking for men who give you butterflies in your tummy and start looking for men that make you feel safe, protected, and worthwhile. You need to do this for yourself, because it is not these men. It's not. They are just as lost and confused and mistaken as you are. And they're probably sitting there going, yeah, I hit her or I called her this because she did X, Y, or Z to me. And you have to understand that. It is a vicious cycle. And until you've learned to respect people, you'll never have anyone who will respect you back.
A lot of women have that problem these days.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I want to say, one, when she gets to be above 18, can you give me her phone number?
Absolutely.
Two, why is everyone wanting to get Z a girlfriend? I mean, yeah, he needs a girlfriend, but I need a girlfriend. This is my
Okay.
channel.
I need a girlfriend.
Hashtag get everyone a girlfriend. I can be everyone's girlfriend. I can do this. Girlfriends
I would
for
love to have
everybody.
you as a girlfriend. I
I did
need
get
a
to-
fire girlfriend. But you're talking about the girl who was like rude to you because you had butted into her business, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't think you liked me anymore." and talking about this girl that keeps getting into these relationships, and there's a lot of psychology behind this, but probably it comes down to a concept called learned helplessness. And what learned helplessness is like, you're given the chance to leave. You don't want to because you've learned to adapt to your situation. And if someone were like Z, you tell this girl, hey, get out of this relationship if you're not happy, they're more angry about themselves, but they have to direct it at you as you're the problem. Oh, well, you're getting in my business. I didn't ask you to do that, even though
ironically, it's on Facebook.
Yeah, they publicly let it out there. They're unhappy, but you interfere.
No, but I get you.
Their business.
I have one friend that just spams Facebook with her bipolar shit about her boyfriend, and he's apparently left for like the 7th time, and she's devastated for some reason while she still complains about him.
I just wanted to say out loud from the chat, because I guess I said that and it kind of sounded a little weird. Somebody asked me why is it that it's a male's prerogative to make women feel safe? It's not a male's prerogative to make women feel safe. It's a partner's prerogative to make their partner feel safe, whatever that is. And when I said that, I was talking to a woman directly. And I was also telling her, you need to figure out what you're doing that makes men not feel safe.
Well, there's another caveat to that, though, is, it's not necessarily a man's responsibility for a woman to feel safe, but it is a woman's responsibility in this situation to put herself in a situation to where she can feel safe. And this woman is knowingly choosing people, maybe even on a subconscious level, that she knows will abuse her, and then wonders why she can't get the things that she wants. She needs to find someone that will allow her to feel safe. It's not necessarily his responsibility alone, it's both of theirs, but she can't keep putting herself in harm's way and wondering why she's in harm's way.
I am in no way saying that men as a whole need to make women as a whole feel safe. I want that to be very clear right now. When I say safe, I don't mean physically safe, right? Obviously, your partner shouldn't make you feel physically safe. That's kind of a prerequisite to dating them, right? Like, you feel physically safe around them, maybe they're not that great.
Yeah, like a little...
But when I say safe,
just do.
Yeah, when I say a partner should make you feel safe, or a man should make his woman feel safe, or a woman should make his man feel safe, I mean things like they don't feel insecure about how they look, so they don't think you're going to go out and cheat on them. They feel safe. They know that you're not going to flip your gasket every time they make a tiny mistake. They feel safe. They feel safe around you as a person. Like, they're not walking on eggshells, all that different kind of little things that make people in abusive situations feel unsafe and cause them to act out. Right? Maybe this is weird because I'm coming from a place where I've been in lots of abusive relationships. I grew up with my parents in abusive relationships. Like, I'm thinking of this as somebody who's not looking at, like, a person-to-person basis, not necessarily society as a whole. I don't know.
No, it's good.
It is very important for, couples to support each other in every way that they can. It's just, and it is kind of natural for men to want to protect women because, ladies first, ladies off the boat, children out of the fucking house fire, it's natural for them to want to protect people, but it's not a bad thing, really, and it shouldn't be an expected thing either if a man isn't necessarily a protective kind of guy.
I'll say
I want MissyJ. She's a protective kind of girl.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need a boyfriend who's going to beat up somebody who, does like insults my honor or something, or tries to touch me or
But
something.
the thing is though, there are some women who are like that, who will have that expectation that you fight
yeah.
any and every man that she doesn't like. I remember back in high school, I had a buddy of mine who was kind of belligerent to everyone but me, because he really respected me and we had a nice time together. But he told this one girl to shut up, and she got angry, texted her boyfriend, and told him to come fight him. So I think this was like, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. We get to Friday. The guy rides the bus, gets to our neighborhood, and he wants to fight my friend, right? Now I respect my friend, and I'm like, all right, go ahead. If you can fight him, go ahead and fight him. And honestly, I think he made the right decision. He said he did not want to fight, and because combat is a dangerous thing, so he said, I don't want to fight. I'll just leave it alone, and everything will be cool and kosher. So I was like, okay. He ended up getting punched in the face, but they didn't fight, and everything was kosher, right? So the next week following, I had to have a conversation with the girl because she was the sister of one of my good friends, and I was like, look, you can't call your boyfriend to come fight everybody that bothers you, all right? You can't do that. You never know. A day might come where the guy has a knife, he has a gun, he gets scared, he pulls out a wrench. You never know. You can't ask somebody to protect you and fight for your honor every single time because you don't know the situation. And I don't know if that wisdom stuck with her. I hope it does. I know there are some women who fight and defend her no matter what the circumstances is, not thinking about his well-being or if the fight's even worth it or not. So in that guy's defense, there are some ladies who are like that.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is with ladies like that is these are the same women that will complain about, oh, it's all patriarchal and men feel like they have to protect their women, but when shit goes down, they're the ones like texting their boyfriends like, oh, someone insulted me, I need you to go beat up a guy. And it's like, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain that they're so controlling and they'll beat up any guy that you need to and then call on them to do exactly that.
And I'll say again, in the guy's defense in the comment section, he does pull a good point. It at this point it really isn't men's responsibility to protect women because a lot of women have snapped at men who've been protective of them, have snapped at men who wanted to keep them safe, and have talked about control and patriarchal oppression and all of that. So it makes perfect sense that the guy in the comment section's like, get out of here with that. I'm not going to protect you. Every time I did, you snapped at me. Every time I did, you called me a patriarchal shitlord. Of course he's going to have a reaction like that after months or years of this stuff, being attacked on him. So I understand why he feels that way.
And honestly,
it sucks he's got to that point. It really does, but I understand it.
I'll defend a woman if, like, I'm dating her and someone actually attacked her. I would defend her. But if someone just said something mean to her, I'm like, well, why don't you go do something, I'm not going to fight a fight for you.
Yeah, that's
and
how
that
I
might
feel.
make me come off as weak, but it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Would you mind if I shared a story about one time where I guess both me and my boyfriend basically had to protect each other from this crazy ass girl?
Oh no.
Lay it on us.
Well, yeah, me and the short guy, we were walking home, and
Napoleon.
That's
Can
what I
we
was
call him
saying.
Napoleon for this story?
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
short guy.
Yeah, me and Napoleon, we were walking home, and this girl, I don't know why she hated me. She was fat. She was
That's
not
why she hated you.
attractive. Yeah, she was probably just jealous. I mean, it's cliche to say, but she was definitely not,
I
a
mean,
happy
you had the
person.
short guy. Of course she was jealous.
Yeah, but so she starts like just yelling at us like blocks behind us, going like, "Oh, she had sex with this guy," and this all this shit. Of course I did it, but I was like, can you fuck off? You know, like, she was just yelling at us for no reason. But she wouldn't stop. She was with one other girl, and who did not say a word the entire time. But, you know, the Napoleon, he just got fed up with it, so he turned around and said, he said, you know what? You know why people don't like you? Because you're fat. And you're also ugly, and the only thing that's stupider than you is your family. And, you know, she got so angry that she, like, gets up in his face, and I turn around for 1 second to drop my bag, and apparently I did not know this until after the fact, but she tried to punch him. He put his arm up. She broke his watch thing and, you know, made him basically hit himself in the eye. And I did not see that. If I had, I probably would have pushed her away from him. But after that, you know, I basically got in between them. And she was just trying to say, like, oh, he talked about my family, he's dissing me, blah, blah. And I was like, then why the fuck were you attacking me verbally? Like, you know, you could just screw off. So, yeah, I mean, we basically, you know, that was just me trying to show that, you know, we were trying to protect each other, even though it didn't really work out very well. But, yeah, we basically walked off and told the school about it because, you know, we were on our way home from school, and she just got suspended, so.
So, we were talking about fat shaming at work the other day because of Trigglypuff. Trigglypuff came back and started saying that the internet was fat shaming her, and I
heard of Jigglypuff.
I had to
the seat she was sitting on was fat shaming her.
Yeah, I had to stop and think about it. I'm like, we're not shaming her because she's fat. We're shaming her because she's acting like a child and the internet is responding in kind. When you're walking up behind somebody yelling about, you know, oh, that bitch slept with this bitch and blah, 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 and, like, trying to start drama like a child, someone's going to turn around and say something childish like, no one likes you because you're fat and you smell bad, right? Like, that's how it's
exactly. Yeah, I think if you act, you know, in a certain way that, you know, is just ridiculous, that you don't necessarily deserve to be made fun of, but you can't complain about it.
Well, no, and this is something I see a lot with millennials, especially that, you know, they can go around and insult anyone they want to, but the moment someone dishes it back, they're immediately victims. I mean, the whole Gregory Allen Elliott thing was essentially that these feminist harpies are going around giving everyone shit, and he stood up to them and was like, dude, this isn't cool. And everyone was like, well, they're like, oh no, we need to call the police because we're triggered. You know, there's like a story, I think it was Janice Fiamigo said in her recent video, where there was a woman who said that this college professor said that she was very attractive, and she's like, I can't get out of bed now because I feel so triggered. And it's like, really? For that? I mean, if he went up
I wish someone treated me like that. You look good today,
like,
sir.
honka.
He said I looked good. I mean, how do you get upset?
You all look
How do you get
beautiful
mad that
today.
someone thinks you look good? Wow, you look handsome.
Why, thank you, MissyJ. Might I say, I would love to touch your kitty on your lap.
Aww.
Actually, that's the theme of the next video I'm gonna upload. Actually,
Kitty on your lap?
no. I found this woman who was upset that someone found her attractive on the internet. This is true. It was hilarious, and I got to make a whole video about it.
Oh yes, the worst thing you can do to women is compliment them.
Oh yeah.
But you also can't insult them because then they feel triggered, but you can't compliment them. I guess the only thing we can say to them is, Hey, how are you? Oh wait, that's triggering. Never mind. I guess we
Yeah,
can't.
don't do that. Someone will file rape charges immediately.
Bark, bark.
So yeah, the current state of things is things are just a lot worse, and
And I
that is
feel
why
like
we
they
do
will
these
continue to
videos
get worse.
because they are just so entertaining.
Yeah, we know we need we need a wall, not a Trump wall, but like a point where everyone agrees. Let's not get this worse. We need just a point where we stop and kind of reassess where our society is going right now. And I wish a lot more people would. Yeah, of course, in an entertaining way. You don't have to be all boring about it, but I wish more people stopped and were like, "What's our end game here?" As a so-called. I don't like calling myself an anti-feminist too much anymore, but for sake of conversation, as anti-feminists, I mean, like, what's the end game? Like, where are we going here? Because, I mean, after we stop feminism, say we do, there's still the fallout. I mean, all of the collateral damage that happened between men and women that, I mean, we've got to work to fix, I think, is one of the most important things. Um, so yeah, that's my
One
final
of
thoughts on that.
one of my what is it? It's actually my Twitter description where I said it used to be before easy access knowledge that people prided themselves on ideas and not ideals, right? And maybe this is an exaggeration. There have been people asking for the ideal for a very long time. It fuels the ideas that are coming about. But what's the next step after people realize, maybe feminism isn't all that great? Maybe brainstorming ideas to make things a little more fair.
Hmm.
That's the only step you can take. Like, the problem with a lot of ideology is that it focuses on the end goal so much that it forgets all of those little middle steps that make that ideal. And they're not willing to evaluate each idea as it comes to how it compares to their end goal. Because as far as they're concerned, eventually, if we just keep at our faith towards this particular ideology, we will reach an ideal. And it just doesn't work that way.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because one of the common things that I see in the feminist camp when we bring up issues of men's rights and the inequalities that men face in society, and feminists generally have this idea that, well, if we solve all of women's problems, then we'll solve all of men's problems. Carte blanche. And it's basically the same concept as trickle-down economy, which has never worked. It's like, if companies don't have to pay as much taxes, then they'll hire more workers. Wait a minute, they didn't hire more workers? What went on? The system was foolproof. And feminists kind of take this approach that if we solve all of women's problems and give women everything they want, then there would be no such thing as gender roles. And that's the only thing that is holding men back is gender roles. So solve women's problems automatically solves men's problems. And it won't. In fact, if anything, it'll make men's problems even worse if we actually gave feminists everything they wanted.
Yeah.
And we've got to stop seeing this as a zero-sum game. We've got to say, you know what, there are some things that there is some legitimacy that feminists complain about, like the abortion issue. Whether you agree with abortion or not, it is a legal right. And places like Texas, what they're doing there is criminal. But it's very hard to take an entire state to court. So there are some legitimate complaints they have. The whole tampon tax issue, I just say go ahead, make it tax-free. Because there isn't a male equivalent. But telling me that it's because of patriarchy and sexism, you lose my respect right there.
Yeah.
But men have so many more issues, and just ignoring them in favor of women is actually going to make it worse for everyone. Because we are starting to get men who don't want to have a relationship. They are starting to become MGTOW, and that movement is growing. And, you know, marriages are down, the birth rate is down. I think it was France who's going to start, it was either France or Italy, that is going to start doubling the financial benefits you can get for having children to deal with the low birth rate. Men are waking up, and it's going to start having an effect on society. But feminists don't care, because for their side, they think they're winning.
Yep.
Don't you know all men's problems are caused by patriarchy?
Oh, yes. A system designed by men for men that hurts men.
You know, I actually watched a video, it was by Jonathan McIntosh, I think that's his name, but it was this guy called the Asshole Delta on YouTube. I was watching him critique one of those videos, and it was just so funny how, like, McIntosh, he made every single one of men's problems sound like a sexist thing. Like, it was so ridiculous. Like, we need to listen to women because, you know, patriarchy makes us think that we can interrupt people. Like, shut the fuck up.
Have you ever argued a woman before?
You know what?
Okay,
Women are more
Did anyone
likely to
even
talk.
watch? No. Did anyone even watch this stream? Because every time I watch a stream with one or more women on there, the women are always trying to interrupt their way to the top. I do it all the fucking time. So
Well, you can get on top anytime you want.
You know,
that is my thing.
interruptions.
Well, you know,
Like, interruptions aren't always a bad thing. At least for me, especially if someone has something interesting to say. I usually always pull back when I can, so it's not always bad.
Well, the thing is that the reason why women get interrupted so often is because they like to monopolize the conversation. They like to talk and talk and talk and talk, and then if a man wants to address any point, they have to interrupt them. But the thing is, women are also likely to interrupt each other and to interrupt men more often than men interrupt women.
Well, that's because men know. They've been told their entire lives. You know, women just, they like to talk. You just gotta let them talk. They'll talk it all out. And that's why they've been trained, like, by their fathers and everything else. It's like, yeah, just tune her out. Just let her finish her story. I pay attention to the essential parts, add in a bit of, oh yeah? You don't say. Cindy is a bitch. And, you know, all of my problems are solved.
You know, I even do that with people, even if it's men or women. Sometimes if they're talking about something really long, I'm just like thinking about something else in my head, and you know, it's. But I do pay attention.
Were you saying something?
No.
I mean, if you try hard enough. No, go ahead, Thirst.
I'll tell you, one of the funniest things, though, and I actually started reading this book called, I started, like, months ago, never finished, called Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Mars, that book. And it was hilarious, because I was reading part of it, and it started off by saying, some women, they don't even talk to you to get feedback. They just talk for the sake of talking. They just want you to they just want to be heard. And it was interesting to me because I've had a lot of female friends that just talked for the sake of talking.
Hashtag listen to women.
Listen and believe.
Yeah, like they just like being listened to. And I usually do that for like my little sister or something. I just listen to them because, you know, it's not hard. You know, so I think sometimes it's okay to sacrifice time to just listen.
But the problem is that there is no empathy for men in that respect. That women when it comes to want to sit there and listen to men, and they will interrupt the first chance they get and take off the entire conversation. And this is
I was really more like for a relationship, but
this is
Yeah.
a problem that I have with a lot of women. Like, if I'm making a very serious point, okay, I'm a slow talker. That's I can't help that. I'm a slow talker, and sometimes it takes me a while to get to the overall point. But then, because of that, women will focus on one little point that I've made so far and assume that that is my entire point and start criticizing me for that. And it's like, I really want to say, bitch, shut up. Let me finish before I get so you can understand what my point is.
Quit
Now, it's partially my
woman-splaining.
fault, but it's also their fault.
2 points. 2 points. First being, talking about the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, or whatever you just said. I saw a comedian who was it Patrick Oswald? Maybe.
Patton Oswalt?
Patton? I don't know what his name is. I don't pay
I
attention.
listen to a lot of comedy radio.
He had a wife that recently died, and he also has a child, a little girl, and all of his friends have little boys, and this is a skit that he does, which I'm surprised didn't piss off more people in the biological sex as a social construct sphere. He goes, let's just face it, little boys and little girls are different. They're just fucking different. And anyone who has a child knows it. Why? All of my friends have little boys, and when they have problems with each other, one punches the other one, they punch it out, and then they're all friends again. Right? And this is like a cliche and everyone knows it is, but then he illustrates what his daughter does when she has a problem with other women, her girlfriends. And I guess one of her friends had drawn a picture of the two of them together, and because that little girl has longer hair, she drew her hair longer than her friend, or Patrick's daughter, rather. And they showed the picture to Patrick's daughter, and instead of being heartwarmed that her friend drew a picture for her, she goes and starts crying hysterically, just sobbing her eyes out. And they go, what's wrong? And she goes, she drew her hair longer than mine. And Patrick, being an atypical man, responds in the correct way, well, her hair is longer than yours. And she lost her mind, cried harder, ran to her room, did the leave me alone behind the locked door and everything. This girl's like 5 years old. So you know how she finally ended up calming down? She drew a picture of her and her friend, and she drew her hair nice and pretty and long, and then drew her friend bald. And asked her parents to send that picture to her friend. So when people tell me little boys and little girls aren't different, I tell them bullshit. This was the kind of life I grew up living. I know what women do to each other. We're horrible to each other. Also, a small point, any feminist can make a men's issue sound sexist if they try hard enough. I mean, just solving those issues, they can make it sound sexist. Paternity is an easy one. Even male suicide. Oh yeah, no, anything. There is a feminist reason of why you shouldn't fix it.
Not just not fix it, but how solving women's problems will fix it.
Yeah.
That's a given.
If we solve all of women's problems, then men will not be in they won't have to act like men. They can act like women, basically, and share their feelings, which is bullshit. And I've seen feminists make this excuse. It's like, well, in a feminist world, men would be able to share their feelings. It's like, really? Because every time men try to share their feelings, you pull out the male tears mug. Which I don't know if you realize you're drinking semen.
That's one thing that... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I haven't seen a lot of male tears mugs since the semen thing got out.
I see them every now and then. Like Mufasa had a male tears sign.
You mean the Bahar Mustafa lady?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But what I was gonna say was that's a great point, Mad Cat. I've noticed this a lot, man. When men tell women how they feel, I've noticed sometimes they get angry.
Oh yeah.
They get sometimes offended. Like, and it's weird how that happens. They get offended when you try to tell them, not even just necessarily what they did wrong to you, but just how you feel. You know, when you express yourself. And I keep trying to tell some of these ladies that's why men don't talk to you about how they feel, because they know that you don't care, that you're not gonna, respect it. I remember back when I was 14, when I was in ninth grade, I told this girl how I felt. Like, I straight up told her that I liked her and everything. It's true. This is a true story. I told her, hey, I like talking to you. I like being your friend and connecting with you. You're beautiful, but I really like you as a person. She looked at me like I said the sky was green, right? She gave me the dumbest look I'd ever seen in my life, right? She looked at me like I said, if I flip upside down, I'll fly into space, right? And she just says, okay. Right. I pour my heart out to this girl. She looks at me like I'm stupid and just goes, okay. She didn't even care. So, I mean, men try to do this to women, and they either get a hostile response or they get nothing. And then feminists, and even I've seen regular women who don't call themselves feminists talk about how guys don't tell them how they feel. I'm like, because of this reaction. This is why. When they tell you how they feel, you don't respond to it well. You don't even accept it or listen or understand. Of course men are gonna seem like unemotional guys because you don't accept their feelings. I keep trying to tell them, man, you gotta learn to let men feel if you want to have an emotional relationship with one of them.
And that is something I've definitely seen a lot in my life with women. I mean, growing up with my mother, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my mother, blah, 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 but it was basically like the epitome of feminists. She's not a feminist. Certainly she cares about women's rights, but she's not like a strict feminist, but she like one all the time. All my exposure to feminism was basically through my mother. It's like if she cooks dinner for me, and if I do not say that it's absolutely the best thing I've ever eaten, even if though it makes me want to puke, I've insulted her. It's like, well, I was just trying to make dinner for you, and it's like, all I said is it's okay. I've ate your meatloaf like for 20 years now. It's nothing new. It's not like, an orgasm in my mouth. It's the same thing I've always had. So why should I say it's any special? But if I don't, she just gets so angry. Like, and there's just, it always flabbergasts me that women have this reaction that, if they try to do something nice for you, well, fine, they're trying to do something nice for you, but if someone doesn't like it, that's not their fault that they don't like it. And yet you will treat them like they're the worst person ever. I mean, you even try to tell her girl that you don't want to go down on them because, well, they're none too fresh down there. You're the worst person ever for telling someone something like that. So either you have to find some excuse not to go down there, or you got to suck it up and go down there and go down on her, even though you want to puke.
You want to take the sex positive approach to that?
And what's that?
The sex positive approach is to sit down your partner before sexual intercourse and, go through all of the things that you like being done for you, and then make sure that you have enough time set aside that both of you can shower before the occurrence.
Yeah.
And talk about proper hygiene. Sit her down in front of one of those feminist persons who's a good feminist actual sex talker. Sexplanations on YouTube. She has some good stuff on hygiene. It's both male and female included. I respect some feminists. She's one of them. This is a great way for all men who want to go down on their women who have stanky ass pussies This is what you do.
You know, I actually know someone, I'm not going to say who, but who actually cannot really give oral sex to women, even if they are clean down there, just because for some reason, even like the slightest smell of like normal vagina makes them want to puke. And, you know, I respect that because, you know, he tries, but it just like it makes him so uncomfortable that he has to stop, and it sucks.
And yet there's an expectation from women that a guy should go down on them
Which is
and, you know, properly play with the clitoris, but then it's like women give so much little to actually giving man a blowjob. If any, well, they might do it at first, but then it's like after having sex with a girl a few times, it's like she'll try to avoid it at all costs.
Oh yeah. Well,
We need to start giving blowjob lessons.
blowjob lessons. Yeah. I knew a guy who couldn't go down on his woman, but for a very different reason. There is actually a thing where your tongue, that little thing that connects it to your mouth, the little thin piece of tissue
Underneath.
there. Yeah, some guys and women, I don't know if it's prevalent in women, I've only met guys with it. It'll grow like halfway down their tongue, or maybe completely down their tongue, and they can't stick their tongue out or anything.
Mhm. I knew
So-
someone like that, and it didn't really make any complications, but it was also like, you know, he needed a break once in a while.
With pussy or an ice cream cone.
Doesn't matter. Works the same.
Well, as I always say, my tongue and fingers never go soft.
Poor Zerse is just sitting over
But isn't
here
your tongue
like, you
always-
disgusting assholes.
No, I was just kind of thinking your tongue is always soft. I mean,
But it
No,
still
I got
hasn't
a
been
rock hard tongue on right now.
It is the strongest muscle in your body.
True.
I thought your heart was.
No, it's actually your tongue.
Interesting.
Oh god. That was
But
a
you
great
also
visual.
have to include all of the esophagus muscle, because your tongue goes like down into your esophagus. It's much longer of a muscle than we anticipate it to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, baby, my tongue is long.
I had a
get
friend once.
weird messages about my long tongue. It's strange.
Your long
You
tongue?
have a long tongue?
I guess so. I can do this. But, I mean, apparently some people on Instagram, I had one guy actually message me, yo, don't tell anyone, but your picture just made me bust in my pants. And I was like, you're telling me that? Bragging?
Maybe here's my theory. My theory is that in their minds they think that it's still a compliment. That at the end of the day, being sexually attractive is still a good thing. And while it's crude, and I can understand being taken aback, I mean, it's nothing really to be sad about. You know, if a girl sent me an email saying she jerked off to one of my YouTube videos, I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be angry.
I masturbated to one of your videos.
I ain't mad. All right.
Every time I hear you,
Yeah, I
and
don't care if
and
people find me
Theon-
attractive. It's just a little weird sometimes when they like say, you know, I
Yeah.
actually came. When
I
you guys
agree.
pretty positive they didn't.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I can understand being taken aback. That is a little rude.
I don't
understand that.
ever say anything though. I'm just like, oh, that's a thing, and then I move on.
Oh, like girls really have explosive orgasms all the time.
Oh yeah.
no,
It's usually just a small little poof orgasm.
I mean, it depends on the stimulation, but
and how long you keep at it.
True.
I'm a guy. I get one oof, and that's it. That's it. It's not gonna happen again for another hour and a
Really?
half. Might as well give up. Yep, I've
Damn.
tried.
So go Go get
Stuff.
some Pringles, watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, pretty
I'm
much.
not going to let you give up. I'm going
No.
to keep going.
I'm going to get really upset if they don't let me give up, right? At that point, it's like, look, I know what my body does. It's not happening. All it does is hurt at this point. Can we stop?
Yeah, I mean, when that happens, I basically just fall over to let them know that I'm done.
Well,
Yep.
Well, that
Oh,
definitely
shit.
gave the argument that you need a second girl there.
I mean,
I always need a second
I-
girl, but that comes
that
tomorrow.
is always fun. That came yesterday for me.
Yeah, we're going to keep that a secret.
So I'm going to now cheat on Nylaved with the lovely Medusa, and no one's going to tell her.
Oh yes, coming over.
Well, it depends.
I'll
How
show
much
you my
pictures
snake.
am I going to get?
None. Sorry.
Then I'm going to tell her.
Mama didn't teach me how to share.
That's okay. We can all be selfish lovers.
All right, so we've been going for about 3.5 hours, and I know I could go for another 5 because I'm have that kind of endurance, but no one's going to watch us
Well,
unless we take
maybe
off
they
our
would.
clothes. So
Oh.
Yeah, but then we might get reported or something.
Hey, that worked.
Oh god.
I would do it honestly, but I've got to save something for the girls out there.
My snake just shed, so you can enjoy that.
Females laughing is the sound of female privilege. That sounds like a fortune cookie.
It does. Can we make anti-feminist fortune cookies? Or
Oh,
fortune
we should
cookies?
start a Kickstarter to do that.
Oh my
Yes.
god. And the first fortune is female laughing is the sound of female privilege.
Females trying to make people laugh is female privilege.
I came up with a good quote this morning. Anyone who trades freedom for emotional security deserves neither.
Yeah, I agree.
Damn, if NC was here, she'd appreciate that. All right, so we've been going for 3.5 hours, and I thank all of you for coming today, and especially in the chat room. Thank you for everyone chatting.
Yeah, dudes.
I always appreciate that, and if anyone out there listening ever wants to be on my channel, contact me on Twitter or YouTube, and we can set up a Smash series. I know Vanessa has been a willing participant for that, but I might have to break out the duct tape and drag her next time. Not because I have to, but because I want to. I thank you, MissyJ, Vanessa with Cheese, and Zeus for coming out today, as well as Max and NC, who had to depart early on us, quitters.
God rest their soul.
So I'm going to turn it to all y'all real quick. Is there anything you want to say before we get going today?
Don't
Hail
eat the yellow
Satan.
snow.
Yeah. But I'm also looking forward to collaborating with more people. Maybe, hopefully, the people that I met today. I'd love to do more videos.
on Ladies on Topic.
Yes.
Like on Ladies on Topic. Okay, maybe.
I love ladies on topic.
I just like the
I'm a
label.
lady. Ladies are always good.
And the boobs. Definitely like the boobs.
Oh yeah.
Yes, people should check out Vanessa. Pressure her for more videos. Just like, come on.
I am going to edit one today.
Yeah, the last time she said that, it took about 2 weeks to actually get it out. So start.
It was more like 4 weeks.
Sounds like an atypical woman.
Yeah.
You know, you expect it that night, you get it 4 weeks later. It's all right.
Yeah.
But yes,
But
I'm going to say that MissyJ, you need to have Vanessa on your channel, and also Zier. Z's.
Everybody do me on their channel. I mean, what?
Yes.
Well, I've certainly done her enough times on my channel, although never in the ass.
Yeah, we need to change that.
Well, you know, that's more of like something you work up to, you know? It's like a once in a while thing.
Yeah, gotta get me loose first. Sorry.
Gotta use some fingers first.
Oh god.
This is bullshit.
Yes. It's okay. I'll finger your ass too.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All of you, fingers in the ass. Fingers and then fists.
In the ass. I said what in the I said what in the butt.
The answer is yes, in the butt.
Well, for MissyJ, I'll work her up to a full fist in the ass.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Double
I don't know
fist.
about all that. I'm gonna have to start with more than one finger. I want to make that progression work.
I feel like this stream just got casually more sexual as we went on.
That's how you.
As
That's how
we
you
tried
know
to
it's
end
over.
it.
Well, when you bring all of these dirty people here and Z here, because he's not dirty, it gets dirty.
Yep.
Z is a good Christian boy, so any ladies out there that wants a good Christian boy, Z is your man. He's also black, so you know what that means.
Anyone who wants the freak in the sheets, Mad Cat's always open.
Yeah.
I'm like McDonald's, like 30 billion served.
Whoa. You fuckboy.
I didn't fuck them, I just did a lot of hand jobs.
Is McDonald's the one that says "Have it your way"?
No, that's Burger King.
Burger King.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Never
Burger
mind.
King.
I'm
Damn it.
loving it.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
So I'm starting up, I have a Patreon, be sure to check that out so I can take MissyJ out on a date. And if it's really good, maybe we could do anal.
It has to be really
Gold.
good for anal.
So please donate to that. No, but in all seriousness, my Patreon, which is dedicated to getting myself some medical help. If you want to give me a tip for all of the videos I do for you, that's a great way to do it. If not, check out my books. First one is free to download. The second one after that is only $2.99. That actually helps me out a lot, actually more than Patreon does. So either or, consider donating to me. Also, be sure to check out Ladies on Topic, which I believe is Wednesday night. Is that correct?
Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, depending on our schedules. Probably tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be on NC's channel.
Yeah, they like to go both ways, so.
Take turns being on top, because it's polite.
And then also check out BASSFzz. I don't know. BASSFzz. There we go.
Yeah, I got a new video coming out, hopefully today or tomorrow. It's kind of a doozy, man. So look out for that.
And then also Modern Medusa. I keep saying nice things about her, but just go check out her channel. She's hilarious. And
Aw, thanks.
also Max Derrat. I don't think he does very many videos, but the videos he does are great. So be sure to check out those. I think that's going to do it for me today. I thank everyone for coming out, and this is Mad Cat signing off.